friends, welcome back to my channel. I am the Nosy Witch and this is my channel, Nosy Witch Tarot. If you've not been here before, I do collective pick a card readings here on YouTube. Just a heads up, my readings do tend to be fairly long, they tend to be deep dives. However, I am working on trying to incorporate some slightly shorter, more easily bingeable readings, but if you are familiar with my content, you know me. I love to yap, I love to waffle, I love to give lots of tangible examples. Therefore, my readings are probably never going to be too short. With that said, today's reading is titled, You Think You're Stuck, but This Is Already Changing. So this reading is all about a solution springing up for you out of the blue because, we are officially in spring now. We're starting to have some warmer and brighter days. That said, you can probably hear the wind in the background of this video. It's really windy here in the UK today. But, some of the days have been warmer. It's not been as cold. But yeah, what spring symbolises for me is this sense of rebirth, like things coming back to life and blooming after the barrenness of winter. When I think of spring, I just think of new life. I think of little baby lambs and bunnies. I think of like opening the window and letting in the fresh air. I think of a horrible grey, cloudy English sky turning blue. I think of that kind of shift. And I also think of like spring cleaning, that sort of out with the old, in with the new mindset. So I thought this would be a really nice time of year to address an ongoing issue and get you hopefully feeling a little bit more hopeful, a bit more excited at the idea of this problem finally coming to an end so that better things can come into existence, much like how we look forward to those spring days after a long, dark winter. So in this reading today, we are looking at a problem you are dealing with, any problem, and we're asking, how is this situation resolving for you? How is this shifting? How is this problem actually being fixed? And how are you receiving divine help with this? So basically, how things are moving in your favour. Now, in terms of what this issue is, it can be something big or it can be something more minor. For some of you, this might be something quite serious, and for others, it might be something a bit lighter. But you still want a solution, right? We're all on different phases of the timeline here, and as I always do, I'll try to give multiple examples of what this could be, but just, be mindful that everyone is on their own journey here. So if I mention a problem that sounds super dramatic compared to what you're actually dealing with, that is not a prediction, and it doesn't mean you have to worry about that thing happening. It just means that that specific message and example might be for someone dealing with something a little bit more intense, and I guess your situation might be on the lighter spectrum of that. And likewise, if something sounds a bit more lighthearted than what you're actually going through, it's not me invalidating your experience at all. It just means that particular message could be for someone dealing with something less intense. So as always, please take what resonates for you and leave the rest for somebody else. The examples are never there to box you in. They are just there to describe the energy and emotions of a situation rather than to tell you, this exact thing will happen. You might find one of the examples fits, you might find that none of them do. And that doesn't mean it's not your pile, it's more about the feeling and the energy of what's going on. In terms of timing, this reading is mainly for a situation you are currently going through, but for some of you, this could be something from the recent past that you're actively coming out of, and you are just kind of checking that you're on the right path and leaving that behind. So this could very well be something that is unfolding, something about to unfold, or something that has just recently unfolded. But either way, this is all about your problem shifting and how it's moving towards a positive resolution. So we're going to start off by looking at an angel number oracle card. This is going to act as an overall energy check for your situation. This should give us a little bit of insight into what the problem is about, the energy surrounding it, and hopefully provide some confirmation that you are in the right place and that this is your pile. You can also take this as a number or a sequence of numbers that might be relevant for you in some way, maybe something you start noticing more or something that already has meaning for you. I may also talk about the individual numbers within that sequence, things like astrological houses, signs, or general themes associated with those numbers, just as extra confirmation about the area of your life that this could be showing up in, or the energy of the situation itself. And then from there, we're going to be moving on to the tarot cards, and we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into this situation. We're going to be expanding on what this issue is, what's been going on, and most importantly, how this is being resolved and what you're moving towards. We're also going to be looking at tea leaf cards for some extra clarity clarity and confirmation. So we might get some additional details about the form this help is taking, how it might show up, and just any extra random messages surrounding the situation as a whole. If what I'm talking about in the first few minutes of a pile does not sound like you, or the situation isn't something you recognise, that is absolutely fine. That might just be a sign to choose a different pile. And if you're genuinely not dealing with any problems right now, first of all, I love that for you. Genuinely, like, please go and enjoy your life. You don't need to be here. This reading might just not be for you today. And honestly, I am happy for you if that is the case. But I do think if there's anything, even if it's something very minor that's been in the background of your mind, I think this reading could maybe benefit you today. But if you can't think of anything, maybe give this one a miss. Even if it's just to give you a bit of validation about an issue. But if you truly cannot think of anything, this isn't about inventing a problem that doesn't exist. So maybe just give this one a miss. Because as always, these readings are here to provide clarity and affirm what your intuition already knows. They should not be confusing you further. They should not be making you paranoid or leaving you feeling worse. And if at any point this reading does feel more harmful to you than it does feel helpful, please feel free to click off. You're always welcome back at the next one. I will always be honest about what I'm seeing and sensing, and with this being about an ongoing problem, there may be some more sensitive topics or emotions that come up throughout this reading. So just a gentle reminder to be mindful of your own triggers and your headspace. I do want this reading to feel validating and empowering, but if you know you're not in the place to hear about this situation right now, it's completely okay to skip this one. With that said, we have 5 piles to choose from today. You are very welcome to choose more than one pile if more than one is calling to you. The reading is timeless, so whenever you find it is the right time, and not just when I post it, this reading will find you when it's meant to. With that said, over here we have pile 1 with the Everyday Witch Tarot and the clock sticker. Here we have pile 2 with the Healing Waves Tarot and the teapot sticker. Here we have pile 3 with the Wild Unknown Tarot and the glasses sticker. Here we have pile 4 with the Spirit Song Tarot and the cardigan sticker. And here we have pile 5 with the Inspired Neon Tarot and the backpack sticker. Once you've chosen your pile, please head to the pinned comment or the description box below. Timestamps will be there and they will take you to the start of your chosen reading. And I just want to say, if you're here and you're spending time with me, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. You are always welcome to share what resonated in the comments. You cannot overshare too much with me as long as it's respectful. And on that note, unkindness, rudeness, hostility and bigotry in any form will be banished, rebuked and returned straight back to sender. That's not something I tolerate in this space, and I want this to feel safe and welcoming for everyone, and that includes for myself. That is a hard boundary for me. But with that said, you know, if you get a moment, please don't forget to like, comment, hype, share or subscribe, or any one of those things. It really does help a small channel like mine, and it lets me know you're enjoying the content and you wouldn't mind seeing more of it. With that said, thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me, and I will see you at your chosen pile, and I really hope you guys enjoy this reading today. Let's banish this problem forever. I'll see you at your pile. Hi Pile 1 Collective. If you chose Pile 1 and you chose the Everyday Witch Tarot and you chose the clock sticker, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is titled, You Think You're Stuck, but this is already changing. In terms of the reading breakdown, I do go through absolutely everything in the introduction. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. I give all my disclaimers there, but just as a very quick recap, this is the help that's on its way to you, my dear. This reading is all about a solution to the problem you're asking about. The problem can be absolutely anything, but we are focusing on this situation and how it's resolving and the shift in energy coming in for you. So without hesitation, let's have a look at your first card, which is your angel number oracle card. Let's have a look at what we pulled for you. And we are starting with this angel number card first before moving on to the tarot, so you can use this portion as a little bit of an energy check. Obviously, it's not going to tell us everything, but it is going to give us some helpful clues, hopefully, things like the overarching vibe and the energy surrounding your situation. Maybe, you know, the area of life this is connected to and any extra confirmations that want to come through. So I'm just going to move your little clock to one side for now. Confirmations in terms of the sticker, maybe time is very relevant for you guys. Maybe some of you guys struggle with time blindness. Maybe something about this problem could be to do with you feeling like time is an issue. Maybe you feel like you're running out of time, or maybe you feel like you want things to speed up. That could be relevant. Maybe some of you guys have a specific appointment today, so you keep checking the clock for something. Maybe you're waiting for something to come in by a certain time. Those are just little extra nudges. They might not apply This can still be your pile, but yeah, let's have a look at your angel number oracle. Okay, so you have got number 6, 7, 8. You are making progress and advancement towards your goals. Stay focused and committed to your journey, knowing that success is within reach. Beautiful. Okay, first of all, pile 1, yes, you are making progress. Yes, things are happening, okay? In case you've been doubting that, this very immediately feels like divine encouragement to keep going with something, especially if part of the problem is that you're not yet seeing the results. You don't feel like you're seeing your hard work pay off in a tangible way just yet. You're in the right place, basically. Like, for you guys who chose pile 1, this doesn't necessarily feel like, oh, you know, I'm stuck in a pit and I can't get out of it. It feels more like I'm already doing everything right. I am trying to move forwards, but I'm not seeing the results just yet. And so the actual problem becomes staying committed, staying focused, trusting the process, going the distance, locking in because you're not sure if you can trust it. So this could be you asking, like, am I on the right track? Is what I'm doing actually going to lead somewhere? Because the steps are being taken, but it's like you can't quite see the destination yet. Or you're wondering when it's finally going to be within reach. And this very much feels like your guides stepping in and saying, yes, stay on track. The good things are coming. Things are changing. And what you've been doing is making a difference. But, you know, this feels like steady progress, not necessarily overnight success. And I can just see and hear some of you rolling your eyes at that. Like, yeah, no shit. Like, I know that better than anyone, Nosy Witch. And you do, because you've been the one putting in the work. But I think this is saying, like, don't give up now. And you're actually really, really close. I'm also hearing, and I don't know why I'm hearing this, but I'm hearing the phrase, we're so back. There's this kind of excited energy of things starting to fall into place here. I'm also hearing the phrase, getting your ducks in a row. And there's something here about things needing to happen in order. And I'm literally right now seeing a line of dominoes fall in one by one by one. So I don't know if dominoes is relevant, the game, or the pizza. Some of you could have just ordered Domino's recently. I'm also hearing that song that's like, these girls fall like dominoes. I don't know why. But yeah, there's this energy of like, once one thing clicks into place, everything else follows. Everything else follows suit. It's sequential. And, you know, that makes sense because 6, 7, 8, you know, it's literally a sequence. Things have to happen in a particular order. I'm also hearing the phrase, it's almost like a military operation. So the military could be relevant for some of you guys. Like, something cannot happen before something else happens first. So confirmations for you guys. Some of you could be seeing the number 6, 7, 8, but I'm also getting sequences in general. So maybe seeing a lot of the number 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6, things lining up in order. You could also be noticing a lot of 6s and 7s and 8s on the clock in dates. The months June, July or August could be relevant. Yeah, something about the timing here is very intentional. I'm getting like things can't happen any other way. Actually, right, what I want to do is read from the guidebook quickly. So it says, 6, 7, 8 is a signpost on the path, confirmation that your steady efforts are creating real results. Your angels acknowledge your persistence and dedication. Yes, they do. This is not the time to question your worth or direction. Stay the course. You are advancing, not through force, but through focused alignment. Keep your eyes on your vision. Each step taken in integrity is part of your unfolding success. Trust the timing. Yes, timing. Your breakthrough is near. And then it says, each step I take builds the life I'm destined to live. And the soul prompt is, what daily commitment is helping me grow closer to my soul-aligned success? Okay, interesting. Pile 1, your guides can see the work you've been putting in. And honestly, part of the problem here, don't hate me for saying this, but it's that there actually isn't really a problem. There isn't really a problem. It's that you've had to maintain insane levels of patience without seeing a reward, at least not immediately. And that's what's made you question things, because it's like, I'm doing everything right, so where are the results? You might have even thought, you know, if this is really for me, wouldn't it be showing up more by now? And instead you've had to rely on faith. You've had to keep going without the fanfare and without any kind of celebration. And that can bring up a bit of insecurity, a bit of self-doubt, that shadow side creeping in a bit, maybe some pull to self-sabotage, that could be relevant, which is why they're literally like trying to get through to you. This is not the time to doubt your worth or your direction, because you've already started the path. You've already done so much of the work. and there isn't a need to turn back now. Like, you had the desire to do this for a reason, and you took action on it for a reason. And if you're not seeing results yet, you know, it's not because those results are not coming, it's because you are early, and your success isn't late. That's what I'm getting. Your success isn't late, it's on time. There's also something here about your soul kind of knowing where this was going before you did, or before your ego did, or something like that. Like, your soul already can feel the outcome. So that could have been the thing that kind of pulled you in this direction. And maybe there was some initial excitement because a part of you could sort of sense that future. So you moved towards it because on some level you knew it was yours. But now you're in kind of like the middle part of that where it's not fully visible yet. It's easy to think like, oh, was I just dreaming? Or was I just kind of being delusional, getting lost in a fantasy of what could be, of the potential? But your soul knows what it wants. And I'm getting a really, really random example. This example doesn't have to apply to you. But I'm thinking of like when little kids, stereotypically little girls, but I guess it could be anyone, say like, oh, you know, I've always wanted this kind of wedding, or I've always wanted this dream home, or something like that. And people might sort of think, well, how could you know that when you were just a little kid? Like, you didn't even know how that wedding would happen. You didn't even know whether you'd meet a person to get married to. Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't stop that little kid having the dream of what they want their wedding to look like, right? And I think I'm getting a similar thing here. It's like the logistics don't matter, but your soul knows what it knows and it wants what it wants, and that's for a reason. It's like you just knew. You know what you want, but before you get there, things have to unfold in a certain way. You need the initial foundations first and those smaller steps. And I think that's what this reading is really highlighting, that what you do day to day matters a lot more than you think it does. Like, the small choices matter, because I feel like a part of your problem, it could be you struggling to stay consistent when you're not seeing the results. Maybe you're saying like, what's the point? But they're saying, I'm getting the phrase, everything you're doing is adding up. Specifically, I'm hearing the phrase, every little helps, which used to be, I think it used to be the Tesco slogan. So maybe some of you, if you're in the UK, maybe you shop at Tesco's. I don't know, maybe you've got a Tesco meal deal in your fridge. I shop at Tesco's as well, so hello twin. But yeah, I'm getting that message of like, everybody starts somewhere, and this could apply to anything, you know, even something really surface level, like doing your skincare, for example. This is just a random example, but let's say you are having problems with your skin and you're trying to clear it up, and you use this moisturizer for 2 weeks and you don't see results, and you think like, what's the point? My skin's never going to get better, because it seems so far away between like where you're at now versus like having your dream skin. But the changes are probably happening under the surface before you see them visibly. And if you keep going for months, you might have seen a full transformation. And it's the same energy here, and I'm getting like consistency over perfection, because doing something imperfectly over a long period of time is more powerful than doing it perfectly for a short period of time and then giving up. So part of the solution here is consistency and trusting that things are truly working out even when you can't see it yet, even when it's not obvious to you. And the numbers themselves also feel very relevant to me, because 6, 7, 8 can link to 6th house, 7th house and 8th houses in astrology. So areas of life this could show up in might be 6th house, so Virgo energy. You could have some Virgo in your chart, but I'm also thinking of 6th house routines, habits, health, daily work, self-improvement. And then 7th house, Libra could be relevant, or relationships, partnerships, how you relate to others and how you relate to yourself. And then 8th house, Scorpio energy could be relevant. So deep transformation, rebirth, shared resources, emotional depth. Big on that transformation though. So this could be like literally a sequence. They're saying the sequence is playing out now. So you start off with that 6th house, you build better habits. And then you move to that 7th house, you learn to trust yourself and others, which then leads to a big 8th house transformation. So yeah, like I say, Virgo, Libra or Scorpio placements could be relevant either for you or somebody connected to this situation, but that doesn't have to apply. But yeah, just generally with the 6, 7, 8 number, you know, this is a number of progress and growth and abundance. There's this sense that your dedication is creating very real and tangible stability, again, even if you cannot see it yet. It's also about balancing your spiritual path with your real world responsibilities. And because you've been doing that, you are being supported. This feels like a promise here that obstacles are going to start clearing. So overall, pile one, this is not a situation where nothing is happening. It's a situation where everything is happening when it's meant to, just not all at once. And it feels like once that first domino falls, the rest is going to follow. So with that said, let's move on to your tarot cards and let's look at how exactly this is going to unfold for you guys. Okay, so starting over here on the left, we have got the Four of Wands. And clarifying the Four of Wands, we have got Justice. We have got the Eight of Pentacles. And clarifying the Eight of Pentacles, we've got the Nine of Cups. Ah, gorgeous. And in the middle here, we have got, okay, the Queen of Wands reversed. And clarifying the Queen of Wands reversed, we have got the Six of Pentacles. And let's have a look at your tea leaves. This is a month of the year one. We have October. We have Seahorse, Family Matters. We have got Ladder, Climbing Towards Success. And we have got Boot, Increase your effort if you want to achieve your goals. Okay, pile one, this is such a beautiful spread. Like straight away, the overall theme here feels like a delayed reward rather than denied reward. It feels like some of the imbalance here is being corrected. It feels like there could have been a temporary dip in confidence, but that is being restored. Effort leading to direct payoff. Support coming in, absolutely, and support increasing. And it feels like a milestone that you are very much approaching. So if that sounds like your situation, I do think this is very likely your pile, because the main thing I'm getting here is that your problem is not that you are doing something wrong. It's actually the opposite. Like, you have done everything right. You have been trying to stay in alignment. You have been showing up. You've been putting the work in. You've been sticking to something. But yeah, you haven't had much in the way of tangible proof that this is the right path. So it's felt sort of uneven, maybe even a little bit unfair at times. I do think some of you could have been comparing your journey to other people's, and maybe you've thought, like, how is it that I'm putting in all this effort and I'm getting so little back when somebody else seems to be doing less and receiving more? Or that's what it seems like. It feels like you guys have had to persevere for a long time without much visible reward, or at least you know that's how it seemed. But what this spread is showing me is that this is exactly what is changing, pile one, because part of the solution here is that you are going to be recognised and celebrated for what you have achieved. There is a milestone coming up here with that Four of Wands. Yeah, it's something that allows you to look back and genuinely feel proud of yourself and how far you've come. And most importantly, you're able to see that your efforts have not been wasted. It feels like things starting to feel right and just again, in the sense that what you put in the beginning is coming back round to you. And it is visible enough now, it's going to be, that you can actually reflect on it. And I think that moment in and of itself, it kind of gives you this renewed sense of vigour as well, because it reminds you that this path has always been worthwhile, and it inspires you to actually keep going rather than wanting to make you quit. So this problem is solved through the scales being balanced. Again, or maybe for the first time in this situation. It feels like the scales are starting to tip in your favour, actually, because before this, you were still doing all the right things, but a lot of the growth was happening under the surface in ways you couldn't see. But now this is like something becoming obvious, the truth coming out, or something being revealed, or people starting to see things from a fresh perspective, and that means that in turn you finally get the credit you deserve for the work you have already put in and for staying in alignment. For some of you, this absolutely could involve another person, especially if this has been a situation where something felt deeply unfair that involved another person. For example, and this is just one random example, like if you did all the work on a project but somebody else got the credit, and you were sitting there thinking, you know, what's the point of me having done all that? It's like something flipped here. People start to see and acknowledge the truth of a situation, and you are the one who ends up being celebrated or given your rightful place, like your rightful throne in a way. You know, if this is work related, it could literally be that, you know, you and somebody else were involved in a project, but they got all the praise, they got commended, they got promoted or recognised or called out in a positive way. And you were kind of like, oh, right, so I guess fuck me then. Like, I got nothing. You were overlooked despite doing so much of the graft, maybe more than this person. And it feels like something changes where people start to properly understand your contribution. There is this sense of you being made to feel like you belong in a certain place, like you deserve this or you earned this. Yeah, for some of you with the justice here, this could even be something legal. Not for everyone, of course. The example I'm getting, I don't know why, but this could be like you were denied government assistance and you complained about it because it wasn't fair. and it felt like people were blind to seeing the truth that you deserve this, and it took a while to get it, but maybe you took it to like a tribunal or a court and eventually you got what you deserved, or this is what's going to happen. Obviously that's just one random storyline, an example. I can't claim to know everybody's individual situations, but I keep getting this phrase of like, you are going to have your day in court. And yeah, I don't necessarily mean that literally, but more so in the sense of like, you have the receipts or you have the proof, and it's going to show that you have been doing everything right all along. So yeah, there's something about truth being made visible here. So another example I'm getting, and this is a very intense example and an intense situation, like if there's been some sort of custody issue, for example, where you yourself have done all the right things, but somebody has tried to paint you in a bad light, that does not hold up forever. You know, if somebody has been manipulating the truth or trying to make you look like the problem, that energy is not sustainable, because eventually people are going to start to see what is going on. And when they do, this is not only vindication for you, it is also recognition that you have been like the good person all along, is something I'm getting. It's people having to acknowledge that, oh, like Pal 1 was actually right all along, or they were doing the right thing all along. There is something here about your integrity being seen. Even when it would have been easier to kind of like stoop to somebody else's level, it feels like you stayed consistent and level-headed and principled, and that is what ends up paying off here. Now, for others of you, this might not involve another person whatsoever. This could just be a moment where you yourself are able to step back and say, like, actually, I'm really proud of how far I've come. Like, I'm glad I stuck to this, because now I can see that it's starting to pay off, even if at times I doubted that it ever would. And the example I keep getting, and this does not have to be literal, but I'm thinking of something like fitness goals or weight loss. You know, sustainable progress in that area can feel kind of slow at times. And because we see ourselves in the mirror every single day, it can be very hard to notice the small changes. Sometimes it even feels like we are going backwards, you know. We can be doing everything right, we can be tracking things, we can be moving our bodies, making the effort, and then we might step on the scale after a couple of weeks and think, what the hell, like I've worked so hard and I've put on 2 pounds or something. And that can be so demotivating, and it can make us think like, what's the point? But sometimes that is not because you are actually doing anything wrong. It could literally be that you have water weight, or you're at a certain point in your cycle, or any number of things happening under the surface, body recomposition even. The point is, the visible proof is not always immediate, but then there comes a milestone where you do finally see the difference, and you are like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I stuck with this. And what is truly lovely here, Pal 1, is that it does not feel like that milestone makes you slack off. It actually inspires you even more. It restores your confidence, and it makes you think like, if I can do this, then what else am I capable of? And you start setting new goals and working even harder. Because with that Queen of Wands reversed, I really do feel like for some of you guys, it could have been like your confidence has taken a knock in relation to this situation. And it's not because you are not capable, but it's because not seeing the progress clearly has done a bit of a number on your own self-belief. So maybe you have had moments of thinking, you know, if I was really good at this, would it not come easier? If this was really for me, would I not be seeing more obvious results? If I was really talented and capable and attractive and worthy, or whatever this is, whatever it is you've been doubting, would people not be affirming that more clearly and telling me? And it feels like you guys, you've had to validate so much of this on your own without much external encouragement. And that's been difficult at times, because you've had to just keep trusting your own potential, even when other people maybe were not reflecting it back to you. And even when, you know, there was nobody really patting you on the back, telling you that you were doing a good job. And so part of the solution here feels like your spark essentially coming back online. It's like you could have had a bit of a wobble or a period where your passion dipped a bit, where you felt less inspired or less sure of yourself. But this solution is a reminder that no, you've very much still got it. It feels like your confidence is coming back, but stronger, because now you have the proof to go alongside what you already knew deep down. It's almost like your aura points are being collected, is what I'm getting. That's what I'm seeing. Like, I'm thinking of somebody collecting like coins in a video game. I'm seeing that, but that's your aura points. You're picking loads up. You're rich with aura points. It's something I'm getting. But your energy, your sense of self, your belief in your own abilities, it feels like all of that is being restored. And for some reason I keep hearing the phrase, don't believe the hype, but in your case, I'm getting the phrase, believe the hype about Pal 1. So this could be you believing in yourself again, and maybe, you know, other people seeing it too as well. I do also think for some of you that if other people are involved in this in some way, there might have been an element of like withheld praise or withheld validation. Sometimes people can feel threatened by a self-assured person or by somebody with a natural Queen of Wands energy, which is you power one, like charismatic and charming and magnetic. So somebody could have like withheld compliments or recognition because of their own insecurity. So maybe there's been a person around you who really has been noticing your glow up or your progress or your achievements, but they've chosen not to comment on it directly. And maybe that's made you question yourself because you're like, oh, you know, I must not be making progress because nobody said anything, so maybe I'm imagining it. But I'm getting like, no, they saw it. They did see it. They just didn't want to say that they saw it. Somebody is going to say something though, or something is going to happen that confirms it. And it's going to restore your motivation in a really significant way is what I'm getting. And I don't know why I'm getting this random example, but I'm thinking of a Reddit thread I read ages ago now. I can't fully remember the story, but basically it was something like this girl was asking for hygiene advice because her boyfriend kept telling her that she smelt. And so she was going to all these lengths to sort out this problem of her smelling, and she couldn't understand it because she was like, you know, I shower twice a day or whatever, I brush my teeth, like I'm very consistent with my hygiene. And I know like people can technically still smell for other reasons, like they can be doing everything right hygiene wise, but maybe if they have a medical issue, you know, that can happen. And I think maybe that's what she was worried about. But it turned out that actually her boyfriend was just negging her. He was just making it up, I think, to undermine her confidence, probably because he was worried that she could go out and do better than him. So it's like something he kept making her feel insecure about, a problem that didn't actually exist, right? And I don't know why I'm getting that. I don't know if that example is relevant to anyone. Obviously, it wouldn't be exactly that example, but the energy of that is kind of here. You know, it's a moment where maybe you wondered, like, wait, am I the problem here? Like, do I need to fix something? Like that girl thought that she needed to fix her hygiene when actually there was no problem. And maybe realizing, like, actually the issue was the other person all along, or that, you know, some kind of insecurity was being projected onto you. So for some of you, the solution here is not just, you know, being recognized externally, but also having that moment of clarity where you realize, like, I was never lacking in this, like, I was never the problem. So overall, this really does feel like a huge confidence reset, pile one. You recognizing your own excellence, but other people recognizing it too, and the results finally becoming visible enough to motivate you to keep going. And that boot card is actually really, really funny to me, because when I looked at this, I immediately thought of the phrase, a kick up the arse, which we say all the time here in the UK. And when you say, like, oh, he needs to kick up the arse, that means, like, he needs to get going. And that's kind of what this feels like. Not in the sense that you need a kick up the arse because you've not been trying. You absolutely have. But more so that this milestone or this solution, it gives you the boot up your backside. It gives you the boost you need to really keep moving and even level up even further. It's like once you see that your effort is actually paying off, you're able to go, right, let's go again. Let's keep this going because it's worth it. It doesn't feel pointless anymore. With the Six of Pentacles, things also just start flowing to you more easily. There's more generosity coming into your life, more support, more opportunities, more things coming back to you that maybe should have been coming to you all along. It's almost like a backlog of good karma or a backlog of blessings catching up with you. Yeah, I would not be surprised if for some of you this includes a material reward of some kind. It could be money, support, back pay, compensation, royalties, a payment that turns out to be more than expected. I think, like we said earlier, government assistance that was denied before and then corrected, or just some form of practical help dropping in at the right time. It can also be people being more generous with you generally, maybe through gifts or compliments, like treating you differently, showing up more supportively, or finally investing in you and your work in the way they should have been doing all along. But what's lovely about this, even when you're wanting to work harder and wanting to keep this going, it doesn't feel desperate with that Nine of Cups. There's a strong energy of feeling content with where you are, even if in the future you want to do more. It doesn't feel frantic. It doesn't feel like grasping. It doesn't feel like trying to force something to happen overnight. It's more like you're finally able to enjoy the journey because you can see that it's actually taking you somewhere. The example I keep getting is that feeling on a long walk or a long hike where, you know, your legs are tired, But if you know you still have like 3/4 of the journey left to do, that can feel demoralizing if you're already tired. Whereas if your legs are tired, but you know you only have like 1/4 left of the journey to do, you are much more likely to be able to stop and enjoy the view for a bit. Maybe you have something to eat and drink and you feel like, okay, I can do this, I can do the rest of the journey, instead of giving up. I'm thinking of the example of exercise. Like sometimes when we start exercising, the first 10 minutes before we get into it can really drag. But then if we've been exercising for like half an hour and we want to do 40 minutes, the last 10 minutes can go much faster because there's that boost of motivation of like, I'm nearly there. This is what this feels like. It's you enjoying where you are more because you know now that the journey is real and the destination is reachable. I feel like those tea leaf cards fit so well, especially ladder, climbing towards success. Yeah, that's exactly the energy here. You know, it's not overnight, but you are making your way up rung by rung. That seahorse family matters card. I mean, this could involve family. It could point to an issue involving family or home life or parenting or something about your intimate relationships. But I also was randomly thinking of the fact that the male seahorses carry the babies, and it made me think of this idea of the division of labour being off or unjust in some way, or something having felt unnatural or unbalanced in terms of who is being expected to carry what. So that could also be relevant. So something about that is being restored, the balance is coming back, things are going to start happening how they're meant to happen. October could also be relevant, either something that began last October, something you started doing, something significant that happened then, or something that will be unfolding around the coming October. Maybe that is when you will see the most progress of this. Overall, Power One, this solution feels like essentially your personal power coming back online, your confidence, your natural charm and your magnetism, your sense of self. It's like all of that is returning and being strengthened by this tangible proof that you are on the right track. Things that felt withheld for a long time are starting to come back. Things that have felt very unfair are starting to balance out. And you're not having to chase or force anything because the right recognition and the right support and the right results are starting to flow in very, very naturally for you. There is something really, really beautiful here about no longer feeling like you have anything to prove. Like, you are already proving it, and now it's like you get to enjoy seeing that reflected back to you. And that is exactly what inspires you and motivates you and gives you the confidence to keep going with this and to not give in. Okay, Power One, that's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. I just want to thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I really do appreciate it. If you get a quick moment, please don't forget to like, comment, hype, share, and sub, even if it's just to let me know which pal you chose, or to drop an emoji. It genuinely makes such a big difference to a small channel like mine. And on a personal note, I absolutely love hearing what resonated for you guys, so feel free to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable with. With that said, I'm sending you lots of love, take care, Power One, and I'll see you in the next one. Hi Pal 2 Collective! If you chose the Healing Waves Tarot and you chose the teacup sticker and you chose Pal 2, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is titled, You Think You're Stuck, but This Is Already Changing. In terms of the reading breakdown, I do go through absolutely everything in the intro, disclaimers included. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. But just as a very quick recap, this is all about the help that's on its way to you, my dear. This is about a solution to the problem you are asking about. The problem can be absolutely anything, big or small, but we are focusing on how this situation is resolving and the shift in energy coming in for you guys. So without hesitation, let's have a look at your first card, which is going to be the Angel Number Oracle card over here. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. Now, just a quick reminder, this portion of the reading is an energy check. It's not going to tell us absolutely everything on its own, but it is going to give us some really helpful clues, hopefully, you know, so things like the overarching vibe and the energy surrounding your situation and maybe, you know, the area of life this is connected to and just any extra confirmations that want to come through. So I'm going to move your little teapot to one side for now so we can focus on our card. So from the Angel Numbers Oracle, we have got 2, 3, 4. You're experiencing growth and expansion in all areas of your life. You are on the right path and moving towards greater fulfillment and success. Oh, I really like that, Pal 2, because straight away, this feels very similar in tone to Pal 1, in the sense that you are on the right track. Things are moving forward, okay? That's what I'll say first of all. But with this pile in particular, it feels a bit more like things are opening up and expanding and stretching rather than just like pushing through something. It sort of feels like this growth in all directions. I'm just going to read it from the guidebook, actually, as I did for Pile 1. So 234 is guided expansion, and it says 234 is a cosmic affirmation that you are growing in all directions, spiritually, emotionally, creatively. You're moving through a phase of deepened self-awareness, and your external life is beginning to reflect your internal elevation. The angels celebrate your progress and encourage you to keep nurturing this expansion. Allow new opportunities to enter, say yes to evolution. You are building a life aligned with purpose, one choice at a time. Keep tending to your vision and trust that the energy you've invested will soon bloom in unexpected ways. And the angel whisper is, I honor my expansion and trust the unfolding of my path. The soul prompt is, what part of me is asking to grow, stretch, or rise into something new? Ah, that's beautiful, Pal 2. So even that message in the guidebook, you know, it's talking about this phase of deepening self-awareness where your internal growth is now starting to reflect externally. So to me, this actually feels like something where you've been doing a lot of inner work, or you are aware that you've been evolving as a soul, and now your external life is just starting to catch up with that. So if you guys have been feeling like you have outgrown or are outgrowing certain things, or that you're ready for more, you're reaching that precipice, or you're sensing that something is shifting within you, this feels like confirmation that you are right about that. And there's also a big message here about saying yes to new opportunities and allowing things in and trusting your path. Because I do feel like part of your problem here might actually be some kind of hesitation or uncertainty around growth. Like things are expanding, but maybe a part of you is like, okay, but is this the right direction? Can I trust this? And am I ready for this as well? And this is very much your guides being like, yes, keep going, Pal 2. And from the meanings of the number 234 as an angel number generally, in and of itself, it can be about progress and growth and taking action, but it's not in that sort of rushed or chaotic kind of way. It feels more like, I guess, steady and natural and just aligned with that balance. And yeah, there is a strong message here about balance and about optimism too, and trusting that you are actually supported. So even if there are challenges, and there's always going to be, those challenges are not a sign that you are off track or doing the wrong thing. I feel like those challenges are part of the process of growth. Like they will lead to something. And again, we have another sequence of numbers as we did with Power 1. I talked about the sequence of it and things happening in the right way in a specific order. You know, we've got 2, 3, 4. There's a reason that the numbers are in that order. So it's like thinking about things happening in the order they're meant to, like things falling into place step by step, not all at once, not kind of like skipping ahead, but more building step by step by step. So a confirmation for you guys could be that you are noticing sequences of numbers showing up in your life. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, or just patterns in general. Something about pattern recognition could be relevant here. You guys could be very skilled when it comes to that. But if you see these sequences, I would take that as extra confirmation that things are unfolding correctly. And even, you know, if we are to look at the numbers individually, because I did say that I wanted to do that as extra confirmation, it can give us more clues. So 2, for instance, can be about balance and harmony in relationships and cooperation. 3 can be about communication and creativity and expression. And 4 links to a foundation, stability, the building of something solid. So even within the number pattern itself, it's like the idea that balance leads to expression, leads to stability. And I feel like that linked really nicely to astrological houses, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th houses. So this solution could be showing up in areas to do with your 2nd house, for instance. That's a Taurus house, so Taurus placements could be relevant. But 2nd house is money, self-worth, values, what you have to offer, your talents. Or 3rd house, Gemini placements could be relevant, or communication, speaking, writing, expressing yourself, your day-to-day interactions, local travel, siblings. And 4th house, which is a Cancer house, so Cancer placements could be relevant, or also home, roots, family, emotional security, emotions, how you feel settled and secure and safe. So there's this sense of things building in a sequence and in a natural order. And just to give like one tangible example of how that might look, it could be something like you earning more money or being offered an opportunity that increases your sense of value or worth in terms of material world in terms of your career or something, and then that changes your day-to-day life or your communication. So maybe this level up, this promotion, this new way of valuing yourself leads to you feeling more confident speaking up or sharing your ideas or expressing yourself, because now you feel like, okay, I'm actually qualified to do this, like I deserve to be here, I've proved my value. And then that leads to more stability in your home life. Maybe it means eventually you're able to move, or you're able to feel more settled, or just create a stronger foundation for yourself. So it's like one thing leads to another. But it doesn't have to be something that big or that obvious. That second house could just be to do with you buying something, like buying a product that helps you communicate better, which then helps you feel more secure in yourself. So it's still touching on those second house, third house, fourth house themes, just in a more minor way. And I'm thinking, like, for example, if you have a disability, this could be a tool or an accommodation that helps you express yourself more easily. And then that in turn creates a sense of stability and comfort in your daily life. Or even on a more internal level, this could start with addressing your self-worth, which then improves how you communicate with others. And that leads to you feeling more emotionally secure and settled in yourself. So again, touching on each of those second, third, and fourth house themes, just in different ways. It's like this ripple effect, this butterfly effect sort of thing. One thing shifting and then everything else adjusting around it. I also feel like part of this solution could be discovering a personal talent or recognizing something you're actually really good at. Something that maybe you want to incorporate into your daily routine, or something that could even become a source of income in the future. And there's absolutely something here about communication improving. So part of this solution could literally be having a conversation, expressing something more clearly, being able to get your point across, or being able to say what you actually want. Because I do feel like for some of you, there's something about knowing what you want internally, but maybe struggling at times to fully articulate it. So this could be about you getting clearer on that and being able to express it in a way that whoever you are talking to can understand. And for some of you, this could even relate to how it is that you communicate. Like, if you've been trying to say something out loud, but you find that when you're trying to get a point across, you get flustered, or you forget what you want to say, or it doesn't come out super naturally, or it doesn't come out in the way you want it to. Part of this solution could be something like writing it down instead. I'm thinking of something as simple as writing a letter, or making notes, or typing something out so you can communicate more clearly without feeling put on the spot. And specifically, I'm thinking of like something where you have limited time to talk. So like a medical appointment, for instance. I'm thinking of going to the doctor's office where you come in and you have loads that you want to say, but then afterwards you're like, oh, I wish I would have said this, because when you're in the appointment, you only have like 5 or 10 minutes to talk and your mind goes blank. So I'm thinking of like writing it down before that, so you can get your point across clearly. It could be something like that. I'm also getting something about doing things by hand. This might not apply to everyone, but I'm thinking of working with your hands, or signing something, writing something, creating something. So this could very well be a creative outlet, the talent we mentioned, or it could be something more practical, or even like signing a contract. It feels like something very physical that you do that moves things forward. And I am getting that there could be other people involved, siblings, neighbours, family, especially with the third and fourth houses coming through. So part of this solution could involve someone around you, or a conversation with somebody close to you. There could also be an opportunity being offered to you guys, and part of the solution is you saying yes to it. And I do feel like for some of you, there might be some hesitation around that. I'm hearing somebody say like, am I ready for this? Would I actually be good at this? But this feels like confirmation that yes, you are intelligent and you're capable and you are super talented. And for some of you, it could even be that somebody else sees your potential before you fully do. So it's like they offer you something, or they encourage you, or they trust you with something, they pick you for something, and you're like, wait, really? Me? It's like, yes. So overall, Pal 2, this energy check feels very much like you are growing, you are expanding, and things are unfolding in the right order. There is a solution coming in, but it doesn't feel sudden. It's something that builds over time. One step leads to the next step, which leads to the next step, and then eventually things are falling into place. And it really seems like your main role in this is just trusting yourself and staying open and being willing to say yes when something presents itself. Because this really does feel like you are being guided towards something that is perfectly aligned for you, even if you can't fully see the end result just yet. Okay, so that was a really interesting energy check for you, Pal 2. I think it's time to look at the tarot. Let's do a deeper dive on this energy. Let's see what we're working with here. So we're going to get more information about this issue, and we're going to get more information about the solution coming. So starting over here on the left, we have got the Page of Pentacles, and clarifying the Page of Pentacles, we have got the Emperor. And over here, we have got the Five of Cups, clarified by the Six of Cups. Interesting. And we have got the King of Cups, beautiful, clarifying the King of Cups. We have the Lovers. And looking at the tea leaf cards, for extra confirmation, we have Quill, get back to the basics. Writing could be significant to this pile. We have got Rooster, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. We have got Leg, stepping into a new experience. That's what we mentioned. And we have got Dog barking, advice from a friend. Dogs could be relevant to this pile. Maybe you guys have pets. Maybe you guys are deeply attached to your dogs, your pets, your animals. Okay, this is a really interesting spread because I can actually see a couple of different storylines, potential situations coming through here. For some of you guys, I will give examples for both, but for some of you guys, this King of Cups feels more like an internal state that you're moving towards as part of the solution. It feels like who you're stepping up to be, the version of yourself that is becoming way more emotionally steady, more grounded, more compassionate, and more able to handle things without getting completely knocked off center, is what I want to say. Now, for others of you, this would absolutely be an external King of Cups person, so please bear with me because, again, I'm going to try and give examples for both of these different energies because I think for different people, this is going to land in very different ways. And I also want to say, like, I know a lot of readers see the Lovers and immediately go straight to, like, soulmates, divine counterparts, romance, all of that. And yes, of course, if that is what you're asking about or that's what you're curious about, if you want to know when love is coming, when your soulmate is coming, I do want to address that. I don't want to ignore it, but I also don't want it to take over the entire reading because on a more fundamental level, the Lovers is also about choices and alignment, and that can be with ourselves. So I don't want another person to completely take over, you know, this reading today because this is about you. I don't think this is just a case of like, oh, a person could come into your life and fix all your problems, because that's not really how life works. You know, relationships can add so much to our lives, of course, whether they're romantic or platonic, but of course they don't come in and do all the healing for us. Like, we still have to do that work ourselves. What I do think, though, is that if this is about another person, there is something about them showing up in alignment with you, and that then making things flow much more easily into your life, because it feels like, you know, maybe one less thing to worry about. It's like doors start opening because you are already operating on a level where someone healthy and compassionate and emotionally mature and aligned with you can actually meet you where you're at. So there is something about that being part of the solution. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic. When I say another person, it can be romantic, but it does not have to be. But it's like opportunities and connections and support start aligning with you because of the work you've already done on yourself and your own self-worth and your confidence and your healing. And so people are going to be meeting you in that King of Cups energy. So if this is about a relationship of any kind, whether romantic, platonic, a family relationship, a work relationship, it feels like part of the solution could be that you and this person are getting on the same page. If being on the same page has been an issue before, or if communication has been incredibly difficult, then a big part of the solution here feels like better communication between you and this individual, and then that helping elevate both of you. It could be that after a period of feeling like hope was lost in that sense, there is suddenly an ability to see eye to eye. With that Five of Cups, I don't want to lie, there is definitely this feeling of grief and disappointment, maybe feeling like too much has been spilled, too much has gone wrong, or too much has been lost. And I keep getting this phrase, there's no use crying over spilt milk, which is quite funny because that really is the vibe that this Five of Cups gives me. But I think, you know, what that means here and why that's coming through, I don't feel like it's in a way to invalidate you. This is not saying, you know, just get over it, pal too. But more so, there is a point where the focus has to shift from what has already gone wrong to what can still be salvaged and healed and rebuilt or approached differently. So for some of you, part of this solution is somebody actually meeting you where you're at, or you knowing how to deal with somebody and meet them where they are at as well. With that King of Cups, it feels like this involves leading with compassion and kindness, wanting to communicate in a healthy way, not letting things become volatile or totally spiral. It's about being emotionally regulated and sensitive to the needs of others whilst also staying centered in yourself. And this could absolutely involve another person who has previously been difficult to deal with, or somebody very rigid and controlling or quite domineering, because we do have the Emperor here, but then we also have that rooster tea leaf card showing up next to it. So this could be somebody who is kind of in their ego or arrogant or boastful. So this could be somebody we're talking about who you feel like always needs to have the last word, someone whose ego gets in the way. I mean, that could be you as well, but it doesn't have to be. This could be about, it can go either way. Like if this is a problem you're dealing with when it comes to another person, this could be them and it's really difficult to see eye to eye with this person. Or it could be you, like you could have a strong sense of pride and you could be kind of stubborn, or you could be like, you could know that about yourself, that maybe when you're arguing, you're like, oh, like I could turn this into something more healthy, but I always have to fight back, or I always have to have the last word. It's going to be different for different people, you know? But yeah, like if it's another person, this could be someone whose ego does get in the way, someone who is difficult to work with, maybe difficult to communicate with, who always turns things into an argument or seems to willfully misunderstand, or maybe somebody who makes you feel small at times. And again, this doesn't have to be romantic. It could be a difficult boss, a sibling, a neighbour, a parent, a colleague, anyone really. And maybe part of the grief or disappointment in this has been around what could have happened if this person wasn't so difficult to deal with. Like maybe you felt like your progress, your career, your projects, or just your individual sense of self, or just the general peace of this situation has been stunted because this person is just such hard work. But then part of the solution, I'm seeing that something clicks. Like maybe you find a way to communicate with them. Maybe they somehow miraculously become more mature and emotionally regulated themselves. Maybe they finally start hearing what you're saying instead of dismissing it or treating you as though you're inexperienced or you're not worth listening to. And I know this sounds kind of dramatic, but for some of you, part of the solution, you're almost going to feel like this person, something clicks with them to the point where it feels like they've had a lobotomy or something, because I'm sorry, I'm not making light of like lobotomies, but that's how it's going to feel. You're like, what is going on with this person? Because it's like something flips and the difference in how they're going to be showing up feels very extreme. Like maybe they go from crashing out or being bossy or controlling or childish, dominating or overly emotional or unemotional or unempathetic to suddenly being like much more understanding, much more fair, more mellow, much more emotionally intelligent and compassionate towards other people. It's like they're actually going to be capable now of listening to your side of things and seeing your perspective and handling things with a lot more grace. And I do think for some of you, especially with the communication themes we were getting earlier, a part of that solution could literally be this person learning something new. Like, I actually can't remember if I mentioned this, but I was thinking about like communication in the energy check portion of the reading, and like you hearing something on a TV show or a podcast or something, and it's like maybe something is communicated to this person, new knowledge they get, because you know that third house we were talking about, Gemini, very mercurial, it can be about learning. Maybe it's like they read something online or they hear a podcast or they see a video, they hear someone else explain something and suddenly it clicks for them. Like suddenly they understand your situation in a way they didn't previously, and that gives them a lot more grace and a lot more tolerance. And I don't know why I keep thinking of parents here. It doesn't have to be parents, but I'm thinking of when like parents can sometimes be very judgmental when it comes to things they don't understand. Like as just one random example, it doesn't have to be this one for you, but if you had ADHD growing up or something like that, like you're neurodivergent, let's say, and it was a bone of contention with your caregivers because maybe they were from a generation where there wasn't much care invested in that kind of thing, and they just saw you as like, oh, you're just lazy or just this or that. If they were very critical, they could have made you feel small. And then it's like maybe they have learned something since then. Like maybe they have come across an article or they've heard someone talking about ADHD and how it's not just like being lazy or not wanting to do things, it's an actual neurodevelopmental disability, and they realize like, oh, actually Pal 2 isn't lazy at all, they're dealing with a genuine issue that affects their function. So it could be something like that, obviously not that example, but it's like they've heard something or they've got new knowledge where it develops their understanding. Or the same could apply to you, like if you are harsh or critical towards yourself, it's like you read or hear or learn something that could shift your understanding. Now, if this is a romantic situation, and this is someone you are absolutely done with, then this King of Cups could also be less about the exact person changing and more about what's coming next in the future. Because for some of you, if you are still grieving a connection, if you're grieving how something ended, if you're grieving what you hoped it could have been and the potential, then I do feel like part of the solution could be a new person. And I'm not, again, saying that a new person will come in and fix all your problems, but I think this is just acknowledgement that something better is coming. If you feel like, oh, I've missed out on my opportunity to meet a soulmate or to have this healthier connection, I feel like you're going to meet somebody who shows you that love and connection and emotional safety can feel very different from what you've experienced before. So if in your last relationship it felt like you always had to be on guard, you were always second guessing, always waiting for the other shoe to drop, always feeling like you had to manage someone else's moods or protect yourself from being hurt, this is going to feel like the opposite of that. This feels like someone who makes you feel safe enough to open up and to soften, like safe enough to be fully yourself without having to hide parts of who you are in order to be loved. There's a sense of like, oh, this is what it's meant to feel like. You're not having to contort yourself or prove yourself or brace yourself for impact all of the time. But if this has absolutely zero to do with another person in that sense, then I think for some of you, this is about discovering something that you guys didn't even realize you were good at, like a talent, but once you stumble across it, it just makes complete sense. And it's something that's going to feel like the making of you. Something where you're like, oh, this is what I was always meant to be doing. And maybe to begin with, you didn't know whether you'd be any good at it, because with the Page of Pentacles, maybe you're going to feel like such a beginner and such a novice, like an apprentice. You feel inexperienced or unsure about where to start, or unsure if anybody would even take you seriously. But the Emperor tells me that this is something you are meant to grow into mastery with. You are meant to be taken seriously here. You are meant to command and take up space. You're meant to have some kind of leadership or authority in this specific area. And that's why I keep getting the energy of like a reluctant leader that keeps coming through, because it's almost this feeling of who, me? No, I couldn't do that. And yet all the cards are like, yes you can, and you're meant to, pal, too. So this could especially be the case if your communication is involved in some way, because maybe you're someone who has got a lot of things to say, but you're scared of being seen, or you're scared of not being taken seriously, or it's like a part of you maybe still feels too inexperienced to really put yourself out there. But this reading is saying like you do have talent, you do have the ability, and if you choose this path, it aligns for you and it's going to feel like the right choice. The Lovers here is saying like, you know, this is the thing that fits. And sometimes I think it's about learning on the job. Like you don't have to be a master at something to learn as you go. But it probably does require a choice from you, pal, too. And maybe a big one for some of you. So this could absolutely be something like somebody offering you an opportunity and your immediate reaction being like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not qualified for that. Like being a bit dismissive of it at first due to hesitancy, but the cards are saying that you are qualified, and not only are you qualified, this could be the thing that reveals where you are meant to be all along and reveals part of your purpose. So for example, this could be something like you having to stand in for somebody at work, or being offered a promotion or a position that at first feels way too big for you. I'm getting the phrase big shoes to fill, so it's something like I'm seeing like a child stepping into their father's work boot. I'm seeing that image in my head. That could be how you feel. You're like, what? No, I've never done that job before. Like, they have to do this and that. They have to do public speaking. They have to manage people. I could never do that. But actually, you're going to find that you're amazing at it. Maybe somebody else has recognized your potential before you even fully have. Like maybe they notice you're excellent at communicating with other people. Maybe you're somebody who gives instructions clearly. Maybe you lead with a lot of empathy and compassion and you make people feel understood and safe, and that actually makes you a much, much better leader than somebody who is just trying to be dominating or controlling and rigid. There could be something here where the solution is you trusting that you can do it and not talking yourself out of it before you've even tried. And I do think for some of you there is still something from the past hanging around you that does lead you to doubt yourself. It could be a past person, but it could also be like a past fear of failure, or a time when something didn't work out and you've taken that time as tangible proof that you're not capable. Like if you've been in a work environment before where you were heavily criticised, or it felt like you couldn't keep a job or keep up with a job, or you felt like you were bad at something, that does not mean that you're not smart or talented or brilliant. It might simply mean that environment wasn't right for you. It might mean that that role was not what you were meant to be doing. Maybe you were never supposed to be stuck in a position where somebody else was, lording over you and getting you to meet these targets. Maybe you were meant to be the leader or the entrepreneur or something. Maybe you were meant to be doing your own thing. Maybe you were meant to be more in that authority role rather than following rules. Or, you're meant to be in a field that actually plays to your strengths. So if you've been looking at some old disappointment and using that as like evidence against yourself, this feels like a reminder not to let the past talk you out of a good future. And I know this is really, really random, but that Six of Cups, it's making me think of this feeling of like being an adult, but not fully feeling like an adult at times, almost like a bit of an inferiority complex. Maybe that's not the right word, but I'm hearing the phrase, I'm just a girl. Like, I can't do that, I'm just a girl. And I know that's more like a sarcastic thing. It's more a response to the boys will be boys thing. And obviously, that doesn't have to be taken literally, but it is that energy of sometimes feeling like, who let me be in charge of this? Like, who allowed me to do this? Almost like you have to wait for permission is something I'm getting. And I've actually had this feeling before, and I still have it. I'm in my 30s and I still have this feeling. And my personal example is when I used to work around kids. Bear in mind, I was fully an adult at this point, like capable of handling children. But there would be moments where I was one-on-one with a group of kids, and I'd have this weird feeling of like, oh my God, like I'm the designated adult here, but sometimes I still feel like a child myself. Like I don't know what I'm doing. And it's this moment of like, this is crazy. Like who put me in charge of these tiny humans? Why am I looking after these children? And deep down, I knew I was qualified in the sense that I am reliable, I'm responsible, I care about these children, I would never let anything bad happen to them. I would look after them. But there was still this funny sense of like, oh, surely there should be like a more grown-up adult here. And this is the bit of energy I'm getting for some of you guys. Like, you are fully capable, but sometimes you don't feel like you are. So your immediate reaction to opportunities is to shrink or say no, or say that somebody else would be better. But actually, if you said yes to something, it could be the very making of you, pal, too. It could reveal a hidden talent or strength you didn't even realise you had. And it could change the way you see yourself. And I think that dog barking card about advice from a friend feels really important too, because for some of you, part of the solution is that you just need someone to kind of hype you up and remind you why you're so brilliant. So if you have somebody in your life who is good at that, who would be really loud about singing your praises and encouraging you to just go for something, it might be worth listening to them instead of shutting them down, pal too. If someone is saying to you, oh my God, pal too, you would be amazing at this, and you're going, no, you don't understand, I'm actually completely incompetent. That is very likely just your inner critic talking. Sometimes it really helps to borrow somebody else's perspective for a minute, especially if they can see your potential more clearly than you can right now. This person might genuinely remind you of qualities in yourself that you have forgotten, or they might help ground you if you're someone whose anxiety tends to spiral and immediately goes to like worst case scenarios. This could be the kind of person who knows you really well, they know your struggles, but they can also offer a much more balanced and realistic and compassionate perspective than the one that your inner critic is feeding you. And with that Six of Cups, this could absolutely be someone you've known for a long time. It could be a childhood friend, a sibling, a family member, just somebody who makes you feel safe, somebody who you can talk to anything about. It could help to open up to this person, because this person feels like somebody who creates an atmosphere where it's safe for you to be vulnerable, and it's safe for you to admit that you might be sad about something, or it's safe for you to say like something didn't go the way I hoped and I am actually grieving that. Because I think part of the solution here could also be acknowledging that if something hasn't worked out, you're allowed to be upset about it. You're allowed to create space for that grief. You don't have to pretend that everything's okay, and you are allowed to talk it out. You're allowed to vent, even if it's something you feel like you should be over by now, you're allowed to talk about it. Therapy could be relevant for some of you. This feels like a reminder that there is healing in having an honest and open conversation with somebody who makes you feel secure. There is healing in being able to say, this hurt, I'm hurt, or I'm disappointed, or I thought this was going to go differently. And having someone meet that with understanding rather than judgment. It's okay to admit that and to acknowledge it. There could absolutely be something here about a childhood dream or a childhood talent being reignited for some of you. Maybe there's something you were always naturally good at that you forgot about, or something you loved once upon a time that's coming back round now. And if part of you feels like it's too late to start again, I feel like this is telling you it isn't. And with that quill card, the get back to basics, I really like that as advice for you guys, because I feel like this is saying it's okay to not be a master at something overnight. It's okay to start fresh, and it's okay to go back to the beginning and build something slowly. You do not have to know everything immediately. You don't have to have all the answers before you start. Sometimes the solution really is as simple as getting back to the basics, stripping away the pressure, and giving yourself permission to be a beginner at something that could eventually become really meaningful in your life. So overall, Pal 2, this feels like the solution is not, that one dramatic moment where everything is instantly fixed. It feels more like alignment coming in through having the right conversations, the right opportunities, and the right people, and also making the right choices, by which I mean there is no right choice in the sense of right and wrong, but just what feels most aligned with you. It feels like part of this involves more emotional maturity, either on your side or the side of somebody else, feeling safe with people and having better communication with those around you, or being better in terms of the way you communicate with yourself, and that helps you move forward over time. It feels like genuine support from somebody who reminds you who you are and sees your potential, and you being open to stepping into something new, even if it maybe feels a bit scary or you feel unprepared, because you're going to realize that you're actually a lot more capable than you've been giving yourself credit for. And for some of you, it does involve this element of grieving what has been lost or what didn't work out, but also realizing that that doesn't mean that nothing better can work out in the future. You're still allowed to feel safe, and you're allowed to hope again. You're allowed to trust yourself again, and you're allowed to try again. Okay, Pal 2, I'm going to leave that there. That is what I am getting for you today, my loves. I just want to thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I really do appreciate it. If you get a moment, please don't forget to like, comment, hype, share, and subscribe. Even if it's just to let me know which pal you chose or to drop an emoji, it genuinely makes such a big difference to a small channel like mine. And on a personal note, I absolutely love hearing what resonated for you guys, so feel free to share as much or as little as you're comfortable with. With that said, I'm sending you lots of love, take care, and I will see you in the next one, Pal 2. Hi, Pal 3 Collective! If you chose the Wild Unknown Tarot and you chose the glasses sticker and you chose Pal 3, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is titled, You Think You're Stuck, but This Is Already Changing. In terms of the reading breakdown, I do go through absolutely everything in the introduction, disclaimers included. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. But just as a very brief recap, this is all about the help that's on its way to you, my dear. This is about a solution to the problem you're asking about. The problem itself can be absolutely anything, big or small, just whatever is on your mind, but we are focusing on how this situation is resolving and the shift in energy coming in for you. So without hesitation, let's have a look at your first card, which is the Angel Number Oracle card. Let's have a look at what we pulled for you. So just a reminder, this is the energy check portion. This won't tell us absolutely everything, it's just what we're doing before moving on to your tarot today. This could give us some clues in terms of the overarching vibe and the energy of your situation. So maybe the area of life this is connected to, or any other extra confirmations that want to come through. I keep hearing the phrase rose-tinted glasses with you choosing the glasses card, but I'm just going to move this little sticker to one side for now so we can focus on your angel number. So we have got 444. Angels are guiding and supporting you, providing a stable foundation for success. Okay, Pal 3. It would have been funny if this card came up for Pal 4, like if this was Pal 4 and it was 4444. But you pick Pal 3, so but that doesn't matter. Okay, this is beautiful. So straight away, this feels like a big message of protection and support and stability, especially if it's felt like that has been missing from your life as of late. This feels like your guides are very close to you right now, is what I want to say. And there's something about this pile where I am just getting the sense, I keep wanting to say this to you, that you are not going through this alone. So even if things have been feeling heavy or uncertain or maybe slow moving or unstable, this feels like reassurance that you are being guided, you are being watched over and supported whilst something important is being built in your life. And actually, I'm just going to read from the guidebook first, just to get that first message. So it says 444 is the sacred symbol of divine support. The angels are wrapping you in their protective wings, reminding you that you are never alone. This number grounds you, offering strength, structure, and reassurance as you build something meaningful in your life. Whether you're stepping into a new chapter or stabilizing what already exists, 444 affirms that you are supported from both above and within. Take one step at a time with faith. The work you're doing is not in vain. It's forming the very foundation of your soul's vision. Keep going. You are cradled in celestial safety. And then your angel whisper is, I am grounded, supported, and protected in all I do. And your soul prompt is, what spiritual or emotional foundations am I being forced to strengthen? And yeah, that really is the energy here. This feels like a grounding phase. This feels like your guides are saying, yes, you are on the right path, but this is maybe more about building than rushing. It might be more about structure and safety and foundations than fast movement or instant visible results. So if things have felt a bit slow or a bit like you're just focusing on the basics in a way, I actually think that's part of the point here. Like, the work you're doing matters, even if it doesn't necessarily feel super glamorous or exciting right now. Now, in terms of confirmations, the number 4 itself could be very relevant for you. You could be seeing a lot of the number 444 on clocks or timers, and that would be, of course, a confirmation. The month of April could be relevant. Maybe something started in 2024, or the years 2014 or even 2004 mean something for some of you. And another thing I'm getting is that some of you could actually be in a personal year 4 if we're talking numerology. And the reason I mention that is because the number 4 really is all about roots and stability, and it can be getting back to basics and laying foundations for something. And sometimes, that kind of energy doesn't feel like the most exciting phase ever. It's not always super fast moving or dramatic or like everything is happening, so much momentum kind of energy. Sometimes it can be more like, right, I need to get on track or get back on track. I actually keep getting that phrase, getting back on track or getting on track. So there could be something here about like reworking your routines, your lifestyle, your support systems, or just really committing to something that future you is going to benefit from greatly, even if it feels like a bit of a slow climb right now. And I'm just going to give a brief personal example because this pile honestly maybe is relevant to me as well. I've mentioned before about dealing with chronic illness and disability since I got pneumonia in 2024. So that 2024 link is there for me as well. And for me, and I am in a personal year 4 myself, this number 4 energy has felt a lot like getting back to basics and figuring out what actually supports me on a foundational level, like really stripping everything back and going down to the bare minimum and focusing on, like the simple things like nutrition and water, movement, rest, support, all the really basic things that aren't very exciting necessarily, but are actually the fundamentals. They're the foundation for everything else that follows. And I think that's the message here too. And obviously your situation won't be exactly the same as mine. I'm just giving an example, but there could be something here about working on that foundational level, even if it feels slow, because it is supporting future you. Because it's hard to get anywhere if you don't master those foundations. In terms of what this situation could be about, I do think 4th house themes could be relevant here. So home life, family, roots, ancestry, emotional security, your private life, your living situation, where you feel safe or where you want to put down roots. Some of you could have a lot of Cancer energy in your chart, a lot of water energy, or a lot going on in your 4th house. Or it could be worth looking at what transits are happening in your 4th house right now, because something there might give you some extra insight about this situation or a potential solution. So for some of you, this could be about a family issue, a relationship issue, a discrepancy in the home, stress over a home or where to live. It could be feeling unsettled, questioning what is truly stable, or trying to create more safety and security in your life. For others, it could be more internal than that, like emotional stability, feeling more grounded, feeling less up and down, feeling safer in yourself, in your body, in your routine, or in your future. So it could be that things in one of these areas have felt a little bit chaotic or a bit out of balance or maybe confusing, and it's made you question your sense of safety or security. Like things haven't felt as solid as you would like them to feel, or like something has been a bit up in the air. And for some of you, I'm only mentioning this because my moon is in Taurus in the 4th house, and I know that the past couple of years, I think Uranus has been in Taurus, and Uranus is like the planet of sudden changes and unpredictable things, and I know that makes sense for my chart. So there could be something like that, like things happening out of the blue that have kind of thrown you through a loop. There could be something like that in your chart as well. Obviously not that exact thing, but maybe check what's going on in your 4th house, because I know that has applied for me. So that's just an example, of course. But I think part of this reading today is supporting you in getting that stability back, so things aren't up in the air, getting an answer so you can kind of rebuild. And whether the solution is more internal or external, this really does feel like we are working on getting you back on track, helping you feel more secure, more balanced and more stable again, especially if things have felt scary or out of control at times. And one thing I really do want to say is that your ancestors feel very close to you here. They feel very, very close. If you've wondered whether loved ones you've lost are around you, or whether they hear you when you speak to them, they really do. It feels like they are watching over you. It feels like they're guiding you. And maybe they're even kind of helping you with a solution here. Maybe they are guiding you towards something. So if you speak to them, even if it's just in your head, I think this is confirmation that they hear you. And if you do keep seeing 444 when you're thinking about something specific or talking about something specific, I would really pay attention to that, because it could absolutely be a sign. So things could have felt a bit crazy lately, Pal 3, but this energy check feels like support and protection and something grounding and you building and you getting those foundations in order. And it feels like your guides are saying that what you're doing right now matters, even if it feels very basic, even if it's not the most exciting thing in the world. You know, whether this is about your home, your family, your body, your routines, your finances, or just like building something for your future, this is a strong confirmation that you are being supported in strengthening that. You are not alone in this, and you are being guided towards something much, much, much more stable. So with that said, let's have a look at the tarot cards we have pulled for you and your tea leaf cards. And let's do a deeper dive into this situation, what's going on for you, and a potential solution. So starting over here on the left, we have got the 10 of Wands in reverse. And we have got the 10 of Swords. Okay, powerful. So think you have been through it. Yeah, you've been through it. But we knew that. Like, you know that you've been through it. Okay, so that's gone. This is the solution is coming now. That's the point. So don't worry. But we have the Father of Wands, so the King of Wands. And we have the King of Cups reversed, clarifying the King of Wands, which is interesting. And over here, we have the Magician. Okay, I told you a solution was coming. Don't you worry. And clarifying the Magician, we have the Six of Wands. Very nice. Let's have a look at your tea leaf cards. So we have got man. Of course, man is the problem. No, it doesn't have to be literal. Dealings or relationship with a man. These are just extra confirmations. But why does it not surprise me that a man would be the problem, Pal 3? But no, it doesn't have to be like taken that literal. It could be the man as in like the system, you know? That could be part of this. We have whale. Great worry over nothing. Has a man got you stressed out over nothing? Whose dusty sun is stressing you out, Pal 3? No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, like, it does not have to be a man. I just think it's funny, like, when we get confirmations like that. We have box. You will receive a gift. I don't know why, but looking at this card, it made me think of the concept of Schrodinger's cat. Is that what it's called? Like the concept of the cat being both dead or alive. I don't know whether that's relevant for somebody. I'm also now picturing like somebody ripping up cardboard boxes. So somebody could be moving, but somebody could have just done their recycling today. That's something I'm getting. Like I'm seeing somebody like stamping on boxes or ripping them up. I'm also getting, has somebody like read a book or watched a film recently that has gift in the title or box in the title? I don't know why that's coming through, but I'm getting like the gift or something like that. You will receive a gift. Yeah. Could be literal, like maybe it's your birthday, maybe it's a special occasion, maybe you have just received a gift. And yeah, we have wall, misunderstanding. Okay. Let me have a look at this. Okay, pile 3, this is a very, very layered one. You knew that though, you did know that. But it feels like a situation where everything kind of clicks into place once you see it. And honestly, it does feel like one of those situations where something has been about building under the surface for a while. And now it's reached a point where it cannot carry on in the same way anymore. So straight away, with the 10 of Wands, I don't know why I'm getting a bit breathless, and I don't know why. Have maybe some of you been experiencing breathlessness, chest issues, respiratory issues, or panic attacks or something like that recently? I don't know why it's like I'm getting, what's it called? Is it like air hunger? Like there's nothing wrong with me, I'm perfectly fine, but for some reason I'm getting air hunger. Hold on, I'm just going to drink some water. Okay, with the 10 of Wands reverse clarified by the 10 of Swords, I do have to ask, has something ended recently, or does something feel like it's about to end? Because this feels like the end of something heavy to me, like properly heavy, you know, not just a minor inconvenience. This feels like something that has been draining you, something that's been overwhelming you or weighing on you mentally, physically, emotionally for a while. And I think for a while you guys have just been kind of pushing through it. You've been carrying it, you've been trying to keep everything together, even when it was taking its toll on you. But at the same time, it's as though you've reached a limit. There is this energy of, I just can't do this anymore. Like, you've been pushed past, you've hit the end of your tether with something. And with that 10 of Wands reversed, it's like you're trying to put that weight down, you're trying to release it, but the 10 of Swords says that something has had to come to a very real conclusion here. And I don't necessarily feel that that is a bad thing, even though it might have felt painful, because sometimes things have to get to that point. We have to hit rock bottom before we actually allow ourselves to let go. And for a lot of you, I do feel like this could involve another person. It doesn't have to, but with the tea leaf card saying dealings with a man, and this strong king energy coming through, it could absolutely be a masculine energy. But just bear in mind, when I refer to the king as he, it doesn't mean that this has to be a literal male. This is more about energy. Take it how it resonates. It could be a partner, an ex-partner, a friend, a sibling, a parent, or even an aspect of yourself and your own masculine. Because for some of you, this is more external, and for others, this is very much internal. And I will give examples for both, but there is definitely something here about emotional withdrawal, suppression, or disconnection. So this could be somebody else pulling away from you, becoming distant, acting differently, maybe being a bit cold or sarcastic or just off with you, and it left you overthinking, like, what is going on here? Or, you know, what did this person mean by that? Or why are they acting this way all of a sudden? And it's been a real source of worry and confusion. Or this could be you. This could be you pushing your own feelings down, ignoring your own needs, because, you know, we were getting, you picked the glasses card and I was getting rose tinted glasses. I'm not saying you're being unrealistic and seeing things through rose tinted glasses, but I am maybe getting the sense of like avoidance or pretending that things are fine due to not wanting to speak up. That could be part of this. Somebody maybe trying to keep it together for everybody else, people pleasing, carrying too much, and not feeling like you have the space to actually be vulnerable about what's going on with you. Especially with that King of Cups reverse, this can look like emotional suppression. I'm also getting something about compassion fatigue. It could even be like caregiver energy, like you've been holding everything together for other people, but it's at the expense of yourself. That could also apply. And I'm getting this very specific kind of atmosphere where somebody's inner world is actually quite chaotic, but on the outside, they are trying to act like everything's fine. Like keeping their composure, keeping it together, not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to make things worse. but inside things have been a storm. It's been eating away at them, or it's been keeping them up at night, creating this anxiety and worry and tension. And I do feel like for some of you there has been a situation where there hasn't been the most honest communication. Maybe there's been an argument that hasn't fully been addressed, or tension that's been swept under the rug, the elephant in the room kind of feeling, or just feelings that haven't been brought out into the open, like people walking on eggshells or avoiding the real issue, or just hoping it goes away on its own, but it hasn't. It's kind of got built up, it's got pent up. And that could even look like something, just as one random example, this probably won't apply for you, it's just the one popping into my head, but this could be like, you know, maybe you have been caring for somebody, or you've been supporting someone, and it's like their needs have taken up so much space that you felt like you can't express your own. So let's say someone close to you is going through something really heavy right now, and of course, you know, you care about them, but at the same time, you have your own struggles. And you maybe feel like you can't talk about those struggles because you are comparing your struggles and you don't feel like yours are as bad. You're like, I can handle it. You know, this person is spiraling, but I can handle it. But on the inside, maybe you're spiraling too, but you're just not letting it show. So you just don't say anything. You might suppress it. You might minimize it. But over time, that creates distance, it creates resentment, or it creates disconnection because you're not actually able to be fully honest and authentic in that space. And again, that won't apply to everyone, but it's that kind of energy where someone feels like they can't fully say what they need to say or express what they need, and it creates this imbalance and I guess like unfairness. So it makes sense that we get to this point where something in this situation has to give, something has to end. And when I say end, that doesn't necessarily mean like, if this is about a relationship, for instance, I'm not saying you have to break up, like the relationship is over. For some of you, that might apply, but for others, this is just about the end of this very specific dynamic where things are unspoken. It's the end of silence, it's the end of avoidance, the end of overgiving, the end of carrying something that isn't sustainable. And I actually feel like a big part of the solution here is a conversation. Some of you are not going to like that maybe, but a conversation I think needs to happen, like something being brought out into the open. Because what's really interesting is that alongside all of this heaviness, right, we have the whale, great worry over nothing. And that doesn't mean that your feelings aren't valid at all, but it does suggest that whatever it is you've been worrying about, you might be building it up in your head to be worse than it actually is. So this could be something like you thinking, you know, if I address this, if I say something, this is going to blow up in my face, like it's going to be the end of my relationship or the end of my career, like this person is going to leave, this person is going to end badly, and you're preparing for the worst. But when you actually have the conversation, it's not like that at all. It's actually the start of this rebuilding. It's like, oh, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be at all. So for example, if you feel like someone has been distant with you because they're upset with you, or they don't like you anymore, or they're pulling away on purpose, it could be that when you actually ask them about it, they're like, what? Like, I thought you were being distant with me. I was anxious about it. Or I've just been stressed with this other situation. It's nothing to do with you. And then they open up with you. Or, you know, maybe at work, you feel like everything is being piled on you unfairly. And maybe you're terrified to speak up because you think you'll be seen as incapable. But when you do speak up, it's actually received really well and things start to rebalance. And even in those worst case scenarios, like even in the instance where the outcome is something really emotionally difficult, like if you come to the conclusion that you have to break up with somebody or you have to leave a job, it's still going to bring clarity, pal 3. And that clarity is actually so much better than being stuck in limbo and not knowing where you stand and feeling completely out of balance or constantly overthinking this situation. And I'm thinking of like the idea of breakups in general. Like if you've been through a painful breakup, I feel like the breakups I've been through, no matter how painful they are, I feel like if I know the relationship hasn't been going well for a significant period of time, it comes with a big sense of relief of like, okay, I know where I stand and I don't have to stay up at night worrying about this anymore. And I think that is the thing here, like you're gonna know there's gonna be clarity either way. And what this shifts into with the Magician clarified by the 6 of Wands, this is a massive, powerful change in the energy. And I feel like this is you guys remembering who you are. This is you fully stepping back into your power. And it's kind of this sense of you realizing, like, wait, I'm the magic here. Like, I'm the magic here, not somebody else, not a situation outside of you, not something external. It's you that is the magic. So it's almost like something has to end, or something had to break down, or something has to be released in order for you to step into this new energy where you're like, okay, I've got this. And I do feel like for some of you, this is a confidence thing as well. Like, maybe whatever this situation was, it knocked your confidence a bit, or it made you question yourself, or it made you feel very stuck. But this middle part of the spread, this magician clarified by the Six of Wands, it feels like you're getting that back. It's like you remembering who you are, what you're capable of, and actually feeling seen in that. And I think the key to the shift is that it doesn't come from you just continuing to suppress things. It comes from the opposite. It comes from you being able to open up and say the things that need to be said, and getting things out in the open instead of holding it all in your body and in your mind and trying to keep the peace and trying to stay silent. Because, you know, that King of Cups reversed energy, whether that's you or somebody else, that feels like the thing that's been stuck. That's where things have kind of been bottled up and avoided or misunderstood. You know, we have the misunderstanding card here, not seeing eye to eye with something. So part of the solution here is actually flipping that. It's allowing that vulnerability and the honesty in. It's allowing yourself to say, like, we need to get this out. Like, this is how I feel. This is what's been going on for me. Considering yourself in part of the equation, or even just asking the questions directly instead of skirting around it and sitting in the unknown. And I really feel like once something is said, once something is acknowledged, everything starts unlocking for you guys, because that's when you move into the magician energy. And the magician is like, I have everything I need. You know, they're not waiting on somebody else. They're not waiting for permission. They're not doubting themselves. They are the ones who, they realize, like, I can create the change here, I can shape this, I can respond to this, I can move forward, I can take action. And with that Six of Wands, it's like, not only can you do that, but you're actually going to start seeing results from it. You're going to feel the difference, and other people are going to be able to see the difference too. This is the time where you're going to be holding your head high again, where you're going to be feeling proud of yourself. It's where you start to feel recognized and validated, and maybe for a lot of you, even celebrated in some way. So it's where you really start to glow up, essentially. Like, Pile 3, I see a really big glow up for you as part of this solution. And I don't just mean it in a surface level way, as in you look better, although that could absolutely apply, but it's more like your whole entire energy and your aura shifts. You are just carrying yourself differently. You start to speak differently and show up differently, and you're just not second guessing yourself in that same way, nor are you like shrinking to keep the peace. You're not holding everything in and letting it eat away at you. You are active in your life again. You are making things happen again. And because of that, because you're making things happen, things start happening, believe it or not, like genuinely tangible types of things. So for some of you, this could look like being recognized for something you're doing at work, creatively, personally. It could be someone acknowledging your effort or your talent and what you bring to the table. It could be a big win in some area of your life, something going in your favor after things felt stuck. It could be opportunities opening up because you are showing up so differently. It could be just you feeling more confident, taking action and trusting yourself, which leads to these real results. It's like once your energy is no longer tied up in this super heavy situation, it frees up space for that momentum to take place. And when you have momentum, things start to move. They start to get faster. Because yeah, with that King of Wands clarified by the King of Cups reverse, to get specific for some of you, if there is another person involved in this situation in some way, especially with that dealings with a man drama card that we're getting, and again, this doesn't have to be a man for everyone, but it does feel like a strong, possibly masculine energy, or someone who has been a big presence in your life for many of you. And of course, for some of you, if this is just more an internal thing, this King of Wands could be you stepping into that more confident and assertive and self-assured version of yourself. Somebody who knows what they want, who is willing to take action, who is willing to be the leader, and who isn't afraid to take up space. But the King of Cups reversed is showing where things have been emotionally off, either within you or within another person. So if this is another person, this could be someone who is very charismatic, very confident, maybe even quite dominant or used to being in control, but emotionally maybe not always the most stable or not always the most open, maybe a bit avoidant or a bit all over the place when it comes to feelings. And that could have been a part of the issue. Like, on the surface, things might look good, but underneath, something has felt off or inconsistent or confusing. And that would make a lot of sense with that wall card, that misunderstanding, because it feels like there has been some kind of miscommunication, crossed wires, not fully seeing eye to eye in this situation. Like, something hasn't quite been merging properly between you and this person, or even just like a disconnection with you and your own emotions. But the solution isn't to keep holding back, it's to actually say it, like to stop filtering yourself too much, or to stop pretending something doesn't bother you when it actually does, to stop just trying to carry it around with you quietly, because the moment you start expressing yourself, the moment you advocate for yourself, you step into that King of Wands energy and you take your power back. Like, you go from being in that withdrawn, emotionally burdened space to being someone who is like, nope, this is where I stand. Like, this is going to come out, you're going to hear it. I need to take action in this. And that shift doesn't just stay as this internal thing, it changes your external reality as well. People start responding to you differently and respecting you differently. You might start to notice more respect and more attention and more opportunities and things coming in more easily. And yeah, you might find yourself stepping into some kind of leadership role, or just feeling more in control of your own life and your direction. And what I find really interesting is that great worry over nothing card that I keep wanting to come back to, because that makes me feel like a part of this situation has felt a lot bigger and heavier and more stressful than it actually is in reality, or at least the outcome is not going to be as bad as you thought it was going to be. So if you've been really worried about how something is going to turn out and thinking about every eventuality, stressing about the situation, this feels like reassurance that once it's actually out in the open, it's going to resolve in a way that is much lighter than you expected. And yeah, with that box card, you will receive a gift. I actually feel like this, paired with the Magician and the Six of Wands, is definitely a sign that something really positive is going to come out of this situation. You know, whether that's literal, like you actually receiving something, an opportunity, a gift, support, money, or whether it's more symbolic, like the gift of clarity, the gift of confidence, the gift of new beginnings, or even just the gift of relief. It's that feeling of something finally being lifted off your chest, whatever it is. And I also feel like when this comes in, you're going to have one of those moments where you're like, wow, thank you, universe. Like, it feels like a bit divinely orchestrated. It feels like something has fallen into place at the right time, in the right way, and it brings you back into this place of re-establishing your balance and stability and feeling safe again. And when you feel like that, when your internal world feels more settled like that and your external world starts reflecting it, it's as though you don't feel the need to be so guarded anymore. You don't feel like you have to stay in that protective shell. You can actually kind of soften, but also step up into that King of Wands at the same time. And yeah, that's where you start to really embody that energy more, because you're not going to be operating from fear or the need to protect yourself, or saying like, you know, I need to keep myself safe at all costs. You're operating more from confidence and that stability and from knowing who you are. And that's when you start to see what you're actually capable of in these bigger ways, when you're not in that survival mode and when you're not holding everything in, or when you're not bracing yourself for things to go wrong. It's like you're actually going to have the space to expand and to take action and to lead in your own way. And that's when things like start to feel exciting. It's not just about feeling stable. That's when life starts to kind of get exciting again. So overall, pile 3, this does feel like a situation where something heavy is reaching its end. It's in the process of ending, or it's already ended. And even though things could still be painful or overwhelming, you are creating space to step back into your power. And the way you're going to get there is not by continuing to repress it or hold it in or suppress what you need. It's by opening up and having those honest conversations and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, even if that feels uncomfortable at first. Some of you guys have this mindset of like, oh, they can't ever see me off my game, or they can't ever see me fall. But you are denying yourself your emotional expression within this. And I feel like a solution to this is you letting that go in a way, like letting it go, letting it unfold, saying what you need to say, because that is for you. It's not about how you look to anyone else, but what unlocks from that is a version of you that is self-assured and expressive and feeling more in control, because you allowed yourself to kind of let go of that deep need to control initially, like control your emotions. And yeah, it feels like you're regaining so much confidence and actually regaining control by doing that and moving into a space where things feel more aligned for you. And if another person is involved, I do feel like there's something being cleared up, whether that's a misunderstanding being resolved or you seeing something more clearly, you seeing someone clearly for who they are, or just no longer allowing somebody else's emotional inconsistency to throw you off balance and to get to you because you're focusing on what you need from this. It feels like coming back to yourself, and that's where your power lies. And I really wouldn't be surprised if something that you've been worrying about actually turns out to be nowhere near as bad as you thought it was going to be, or the way it resolves is in a way that feels like a relief and something finally off your chest. I do see that for you, pal 3. Okay, pal 3, that's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. Thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I really do appreciate it. If you get a moment, please don't forget to like, comment, hype, share, and subscribe, even if it's just to let me know which pal you chose or to drop an emoji. It genuinely makes such a big difference to a small channel like mine. And on a personal note, I absolutely love hearing what resonated for you, so please feel free to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable with. With that said, I'm sending you so much love, take care, and I will see you in the next one, pal 3. Hi Powerful Collective! If you chose the Spirit Song Tarot and you chose the Cardigan sticker and you chose pal 4, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is titled, You Think You're Stuck, but this is already changing. In terms of the reading breakdown, I do go through absolutely everything in my introduction, disclaimers included. I will also leave some more details in the pinned comment below. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today, but just as a very brief recap, this is all about the help that's on its way to you, my dear. This is all about a solution to the problem you're asking about. The problem can be absolutely anything, big or small, but we are focusing on the situation and how it's resolving, whatever situation is on your mind, whatever situation you're asking about, and we're focusing on the shifting energy coming in for you. So the first card we're looking at is this Angel Number Oracle card over here. This will be your energy check. Obviously, it's not going to tell us absolutely everything about the situation, but it might give us some clues. So this could be the overarching vibe and energy surrounding your situation, maybe the area of life this is connected to, and any extra confirmations that will want to come through. And just with you choosing the Cardigan sticker, I'm getting something about comfort, so this could be something about a comfort zone. I'm getting somebody who likes to be cozy, who likes to be wrapped up and warm. I'm also getting something about somebody, it's just a random confirmation. Somebody likes to have clothes with pockets, or somebody always has little bits or little trinkets in their pockets, like little random items. That's just a message for somebody, but I'm just going to pop your little cardigan sticker to one side so we can focus on the Angel Number card. So we have got 343. Approach life with an optimistic attitude, even in the face of challenges. Be excited about the opportunities that lie ahead and embrace them with open arms. And I'm actually going to start, as I have done with all the pals so far, by reading a little bit from the guidebook. This gives us more info on that angel number specifically. So it says, 343 is a beacon of hopeful energy, inviting you to open your heart to joy even before you see results. Optimism is not denial, it is the soul's decision to believe in beauty despite uncertainty. The angels encourage you to expect goodness, to lean into joy, and to live with a heart that says yes to life. Something wonderful is already on its way to you. Let your anticipation become a magnet. Smile forward, dance with possibility. You are meant to feel excited about your own becoming. Angel Whisper, I open my heart to what's coming and I choose joy in the now. Soul Prompt, what would shift in me if I approach the future with hope instead of fear? So what I was saying about the comfort zone, I think makes sense because you guys, maybe your comfort zone tends to keep you pretty protected, maybe due to past experiences that you've been through. But straight away, this definitely feels like an energy check around mindset, particularly when it comes to change. And I do feel like for a lot of you, this is about something that is either coming in, already shifting, or something you have been considering. But there's a bit of hesitation around it. Now, in terms of confirmations, you could resonate with Gemini or Cancer energy, or themes linked to the 3rd or 4th house. So that's third house, communication, daily life, environment, siblings, local travel, or fourth house, home, family, emotional security, roots, things like that. That doesn't have to apply, but the energy of those signs I think is really interesting here, because Gemini makes me think of adaptability, right? And endless curiosity and wanting something new and wanting stimulation. Whereas Cancer, and bear in mind these signs don't have to apply to you in any way whatsoever, you don't have to have them in your chart prominently. This is just more about the energy and like what these signs kind of make me think of when they're paired together. But that Gemini and like Cancer, it makes me think of, but I want to be safe. I want to feel safe. I want what's familiar. I want what's comfortable and cozy. I want what I know. And those two energies smushed together, they kind of create this push and pull dynamic. So, you know, how that might show up in a person, whether those signs are prominent to you or not, it could be that push and pull between two sides of you. So wanting to put yourself out there, but also wanting to hide, wanting to go after something new, but also feeling safer staying where you are, wanting love or connection, but at the same time pulling back and staying in your shell and protecting yourself. It could be generally wanting a change in your life, but fearing what that change might bring. And again, even if you don't resonate with those signs or houses specifically, I would like strongly recommend checking out what's going on in your third and fourth house, like whatever signs are there. I would see if there's any like transits going on in your chart right now. But regardless of whether that applies or not, that energy of being pulled in two directions feels really strong here. So a lot of you, this situation feels like a change that you are stepping into or thinking about or being faced with. And yeah, there's a lot of excitement there, but there's also fear. Like you're overthinking it a bit, thinking about every possible outcome. And a lot of the focus might be right now on what could go wrong, like preparing for every eventuality, that sort of thing. And sometimes that might lead to kind of talking yourself out of it because you think of the worst case scenario and then you're like, oh, but I could just stay here. Like, so I'll just stay here then, so I just won't do it. And I just want to say, like, this, when we talk about mindset, this isn't about invalidating your feelings at all, because for some of you, change is hard. You know, change is a disruptor, and sometimes there are aspects of change that do feel uncomfortable or rocky to begin with. And there are changes that also require a period of grieving or at the very least adjusting. And that is completely valid. You don't have to be okay with something straight away if something is changing in your life in a way you don't feel great about. But this reading feels like it's gently nudging you to also recognize what could go right, because it feels like you might be talking yourself out of something, but deep down it could actually be really good for you. Or deep down you actually want it, but you might have, I don't want to say you have a negative attitude towards it to begin with and you're thinking about this all wrong, because it's not that, because maybe there are things associated with this change that aren't easy, and that is completely valid. And if that's your experience, you know, this isn't saying like, oh, you're thinking about it wrong, but it's also, even if some of those negatives might apply, I think this is saying there's also potential there for better things alongside it, even if there are bad things. So instead of thinking like this is going to go badly, or I'm not going to enjoy this, or this isn't going to work, there might need to be a shift in perspective. And I want to give an example here from my own experience, because I'm someone who, you know, I've been open about it on the channel. I talk about it sometimes, not in a great deal of depth, but it is the best example I can think of with my health situation and becoming disabled. Becoming disabled was life-changing for me in a very uncomfortable way. And I am probably never going to sit here and say like, oh, that was such a positive thing that I became disabled, because in reality it has made everything like so much harder. It's affected my life in these huge ways, and there has absolutely been grief there for the life that I used to have. But at the same time, there has been some positives that have come from it, because it's forced me to slow down, to prioritize my health, and to understand my body, and to build a life that actually supports me instead of me trying to keep pushing past my limits. And even now, within that, there are still things that I might dread, like, you know, having to go to appointments and explaining my situation. I often go in thinking, oh, this is going to be exhausting, this isn't going to help. And sometimes it actually goes a lot better than I expect. Sometimes I end up feeling understood. But because of past experiences of not being understood, or dealing with people who maybe weren't the nicest or most supportive, sometimes my back was up before I would go in, because I'd be like, well, I'm just going to meet another person who's not going to understand, or they're not going to listen, and we're not going to get anywhere. And actually, sometimes it would go better than expected. Sometimes people do want to help, and sometimes things might not look exciting on the surface, or they might be uncomfortable at first, but it ends up going better than you thought. And I'm not saying, you know, that example applies to you in any way, but I'm just saying even things we see as categorically like bad, like even if we're like no good can come from this, sometimes some good can come from it. Even if you would have preferred that the change didn't happen in the first place, it's about accepting that it has, and okay, what can we do now? But I'm not saying it's not an exciting situation for you. I just wanted to mention that example because I think it encompasses what it might feel like for those of you who are in a situation that feels like it's more not in your control, I want to say. But for a lot of you, this could very well be something actually very exciting. So, you know, this could be a promotion or stepping up in some way at work. This could be a restructure or a change to your routine. It could be putting yourself out there, writing, speaking, sharing something, starting something new creatively, starting a podcast, a YouTube channel, putting your artwork out there, a social media page. It could be sharing your opinions more. It could be dating or opening yourself up to connections or friendships again. It could be leaving something that feels familiar and comforting for something more aligned. Or it could just be like changing aspects of your work environment, like going from the office to work from home, or work from home to the office, or vice versa, or taking on more responsibility, or being offered an opportunity that feels a little bit intimidating, but part of you is also excited. Part of you is like, oh, but what if I mess it up? Or what if I don't enjoy it? Or what if this goes wrong? But part of you is also secretly excited. And I want this reading to come from a place of giving you like reassurance that it's not all going to go wrong. In fact, it feels like this has the potential to go very, very right. So the message here is not to like ignore your fear or pretend everything is perfect or to live in toxic positivity, but there needs to be a balance. Like there needs to be space allowed for the possibility that something good could come from this. Because with that 343 energy, it really does feel like something is unfolding for you and you're being encouraged to meet it with a bit more openness and a bit more curiosity and more trust that you're being guided through it and that it is going to lead to something better. With that said, I think that would be a good point to move along to your tarot. We're going to dive a bit deeper into this situation and a potential solution. Okay, so starting over here on the left, we have got the Six of Feathers reversed, transition insight. And clarifying that, we have got the Eight of Acorns energy results, that is reversed. So feathers are swords, I believe, in this deck, and acorns are wands. So it's the Six of Swords and Eight of Wands reversed so far. And over here we have got Queen of Feathers, so Queen of Swords, perception and truth, and that is showing up upright, which is beautiful. And clarifying that, we have got the Ace of Crystals, manifestation, prosperity. So crystals are pentacles, and that is also showing up upright, clarifying the Queen of Wands. And in the middle here, we have got the Tower, okay? Not surprising. I mean, we did talk about change, but don't worry. Release and revelation, okay? I love the way that is framed. And clarifying the Tower, we've got the King of Crystals, courage, commitment, King of Pentacles, clarifying the Tower. Yeah, this change is going to be good for you, powerful. And from the tea leaf cards, we have got chain, a chain of events that will affect your life. Turkey, someone is behaving stupidly. Goldfish, increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. Love that for you. And courage, a journey, either physical or mental. Yeah. Okay, powerful. This actually flows really nicely from your angel number message. This is acknowledging, like, yeah, you're worried about a change. And the tarot is telling us, yeah, you know, but here's what's actually happening. Because straight away with that Six of Feathers reversed, clarified by the Eight of Acorns reversed, this feels like resistance to movement. Like something here is trying to shift. Something is trying to move forward, but there's hesitation. There's this sense of lingering or hovering in the in-between liminal space. It's like not quite being where you were, but not fully stepping into what's next either. This could absolutely be you delaying something, putting something off or overthinking it, or just not quite feeling ready to take action, because the Six of Swords is usually about transition, right? Like moving from one place to another mentally, physically, emotionally, and usually moving to a more healing place, like making progress. But reversed, it feels like there's some element of staying in something longer than you maybe need to, because perhaps of a fear of change, right? And then with the Eight of Wands reversed, it's like that forward momentum just isn't quite happening yet, or not in the way or at the speed that you want it to. So this could look like, as tangible examples, you know, knowing you need to make a move but procrastinating, wanting change but not fully committing to it, being stuck between where you are and where you want to be. It could look like certain delays, slowdowns, setbacks, or things not moving as quickly as what you'd like, or, you know, miscommunication or dead ends, or things just not quite landing in the way they should. And right now, I don't know why I'm hearing this, but I'm hearing, why are you making this so difficult for yourself? But it's not coming across in a harsh way. It is more this sense of like something here wants to move and get going, but you are holding on tightly. You are clinging to something, is one of the messages that I'm getting here. And it might be conscious, but it might be subconscious. I think for some of you, this does go deeper than just like hesitation, because if you guys have been in survival mode for a long time, or if you have been through something very difficult, pain can start to feel weirdly familiar. It can start to feel like your identity in a way, even if you know it's not good for you, and even if it's exhausting, it can feel safe because it's what you know. You've got used to it. So moving on or healing or stepping into something new can feel actually quite threatening. And it's not because it's bad, but it's because it's so unfamiliar. It's difficult to trust that things could ever go right. So for some of you, this is about struggling to move on from something that has already ended, or feeling like you don't have the closure you need, or being stuck in limbo because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It could be that you still feel weighed down by something, or it just doesn't feel like justice has been served, or you're still carrying anger or confusion or disappointment, whatever it is. And maybe sometimes it's like you're even angry at yourself for not moving on faster, or for still being upset, or for feeling like more progress should be happening by now. It's like a part of you wants to move forward, but another part of you is still anchored to that pain or to fear or to that sense of what if. And because of that, the energy has felt delayed or a bit heavy, or just kind of suspended in midair, stagnant in a way. And I also want to say here, there's something about the focus being placed on, again, that worst case scenario, that, but what if this goes wrong? What if I regret it? What if this makes things worse? And I don't want to deny your reality. Like, yeah, that is one possibility, but it's not the only one, because what's not being focused on here is what if this goes really, really, really right? What if this is actually the thing that frees you? What if this is the thing that gets you out of a situation that has been limiting you? What if this leads to something so much better than what you're currently settling for? And powerful, you really don't know how good this could get for you if you are willing to, I want to say, release this false comfort zone. Like, if you are willing to take that leap and step into new territory and allow yourself to transition into something different. Because yeah, right now the energy feels very much like, oh, what if it all goes wrong? What if it falls apart? But this reading is saying there's so much here that can go right. And I feel like this is what your guides are trying to get you to see. And I don't actually feel like this is a permanent stuck energy. It feels more like a pause, or just this sense of hesitation before a big shift, before this moment where something really changes and you essentially like jump timelines. Because, you know, with that chain card, it's like a chain of events that will affect your life. It does feel like a jump in timelines here to the timeline that you could be on if you stopped holding back here. But yeah, even looking at that Tower card, clarified by the King of Pentacles, yeah, things are going to start moving. It might at first feel chaotic. It feels very real, like it feels impossible to ignore. And I'm never ever going to lie to you. For some of you, this Tower moment might have already happened, or it might feel like it's happening now, or it's about to. But this does not feel like chaos for the sake of chaos. This feels like divine disruption of something that wasn't actually stable to begin with. So something may have felt safe or familiar or secure enough, but really it was more this false sense of security. It was something that kept you comfortable, but at the same time, it sort of kept you trapped. It's something that gave you a sense of protection, but it was kind of shrinking your life or shrinking your power or keeping you from progressing. And the tower's coming in, and that tower is like, no, that isn't solid enough for where you are going. Let me put you onto something better. So yeah, it can feel very jarring. It can sort of feel like the ground is shifting and moving beneath your feet, and you don't quite know where to step. It can feel like everything you thought you knew is shifting. It can feel like a big upheaval, or like the rug has been pulled out from under you. But what it's actually doing is clearing the way. It's clearing the path, because I can see that it's leading you to the King of Pentacles energy. And this is where things get really, really good, because the King of Pentacles is not that fake stability. It's not, I'm just going to stay here because it's what I know and it's what I'm familiar with. It's not acting out of survival mode. It's not saying like this will do and settling for mediocrity. This is real long-term safety and real stability and groundedness built from trust, self-trust, and by committing to something long-term. So tangible examples of that could be leaving something that felt stable but wasn't actually fulfilling you deep down. It could be having a sudden realization about what you actually want and what you no longer want. It could be something falling away because it was never strong enough for the future that you are actively building. It could be being pushed or forced into a situation where you suddenly have to step up, but it ends up working in your favor, and it ends up with you showing the world and showing yourself what you're fully capable of. There's something here though about choosing your long-term stability over that quick sense of comfort, because sometimes what's familiar isn't actually what's best for us long-term. Sometimes the comfort zone becomes not comfortable at all when it's trapping us. And as well, it's interesting you pick the cardigan sticker, because I'm thinking like, yes, a cardigan, our favourite cardigan that we have worn to death, can feel cozy and comforting, and on a cold day and we need that safety net of wearing our cardigan, that might be good for us to be kept warm, to be kept secure. But on a hot day, when we're ready to step into the summer season of our life, that cardigan is going to quickly feel very, very stifling. Like, it's okay if you wanted to hold on to this during a different season of your life when you did need it, but I think this is saying you don't need it anymore. You're ready for something better. You're ready to put your sundress on instead of your cardigan. And yeah, it just feels like you're being guided towards something way more solid and secure, even if it does require some element of courage to step into it. And I keep getting this Phoenix energy for you guys, like something had to break down so you could rebuild something better and bigger, something that actually does support you and the future you are creating. And it's something that's actually going to give you more freedom, not less freedom. It's like you thought you could trust this comfort item in your life. It's like you thought you could rely on it, and you thought this item, like this cardigan that you wear every day, is what gave you power. But it's like the power has always been within you. So it's like you trusted this situation and this version of your life, but what you're being shown is that you were always meant to trust yourself, because the power came from you, not from this cardigan, whatever the cardigan is in your life. And you're going to get proof of that. It's going to feel like real and tangible and material proof that you can rely on yourself and you can really handle change. You are proving that to yourself every day. You're proving that you can be adaptable. You can tap into that Gemini energy and you can find solutions and you can build something real and solid from the ground up. So even if this has felt like devastation in moments, I promise it will not feel that way forever. You are going to come back so much more empowered. It's like you're going to understand your resilience in a whole new way. You're going to understand what true freedom actually is, and you're never going to doubt yourself again. And I know that sounds intense, but the outcome of this is genuinely just so empowering, because I see somebody who's moving from survival mode into full creation mode. It's somebody who's just kind of getting by, feeling like things are going to come crashing down, into actually sustaining something and building something meaningful and trusting that things are getting better. And it's somebody moving from focusing on those basic needs of immediate safety into actually being able to like expand and to want more and to dream and to create again and to build something exceptional. Because with that Queen of Wands energy clarified with the Ace of Pentacles, which I absolutely love as an outcome, by the way, this is you getting really crystal clear. This is you seeing through the fog and confusion and the overthinking and the illusions and the what if, and it's knowing. This is you having profound discernment. Also boundaries, being tapped into the truth, your intuition being on point, just trusting like, no, this is what I want, this is what's right for me, and not being afraid of your own voice anymore. Yeah, there's something definitely about not being afraid of your own truth and not being afraid to act on it, about seeing things for what they actually are, but also seeing your own potential within that, seeing what's actually worth building, and realizing that truth is not here to punish you, it's actually here to set you free. And yeah, because it's paired with the Ace of Pentacles here, this isn't just clarity for the sake of it, this leads to something real. So if we're talking tangible examples, this could be a new job, a new opportunity, a source of new income, a fresh start that feels very stable and you feel secure for the first time in a long time. This could be starting something new, a project, a business, something very creative, or something practical even. It could be moving somewhere, being able to finally build a home or a family, or creating a new routine, being able to restructure your life in a way that works for you. It could be planting the seed for something that you know is going to grow into something beautiful. It's like you go from this confusion and being held back to this sense of clarity and creation. And what I love about this is it feels very intentional. It's something you are building from this place of truth and seeing through to what's real. It's a more authentic version of yourself, a version that is no longer afraid of their own voice or their own wants or their own power. You're not outsourcing that power to any other situation or person. And yeah, it feels like the tea leaf cards really back this up, because we have a carriage, a journey, which again confirms that transition energy. A transition maybe we've been avoiding, but we're not going to be avoiding for much longer. And this could be physical or mental. So yeah, for some of you, this could be literally traveling, moving, changing environments, changing routines, changing the overall shape of your life. But for others, this is more of a mindset journey, going from fear to trust, or from hesitation to actually getting things moving, being stuck in one identity or one way of coping into a much freer and more deliberate version of yourself. And then that chain card, this feels really important, because it's like once that tower moment happens, or if it's already happened, which for some of you it has, once something is released, once you make that decision or you allow that change, everything else starts moving like a domino effect. I think we mentioned domino effect in pile 1. It's like one thing leads to another, which leads to another, and suddenly you're somewhere completely different to where you started. I'm also getting the butterfly effect, which I think we got in one of the other readings today. It's almost like this 8 of Wands will flip upright. Things that felt delayed will start moving. Things that felt uncertain will start making sense. I'm getting it's like the floodgates open. And I do really want to emphasize that, because some of you have been in such a prolonged state of delay or limbo or hesitation that when things do start moving, it might actually surprise you how quickly your life can change in response to that, in a good way. And then we have goldfish, increase in material wealth or spiritual growth, which ties in very, very perfectly with that Ace of Pentacles and King of Pentacles energy. So yeah, for some of you, this could absolutely be financial growth, more stability, more income, progress in your career, tangible improvements in the material side of life. But it also feels like this big increase in confidence and self-worth and spiritual discernment, and just this stronger sense of who you are in this very abundant way. Like, you're going to be more you than ever is something I'm getting, and that's going to be great for you. You shouldn't have ever hesitated to be you, because you are brilliant, pal 4. And then yeah, the turkey card, I'm not going to lie, this feels like a bit of tough love. This feels like a bit of sass from spirit. When it says someone is behaving stupidly, it's giving me like, I'm getting that spirit is giving you the side eye a little bit. Because yeah, for some of you, you know, this could be someone around you who kind of doubts you or doesn't get it or is being a bit short-sighted. But for a lot of you, this could be you. It's like that voice in your head that's talking you out of something, or doubting yourself, or expecting the worst, or convincing yourself you can't do it. This is as though spirit is stepping in and being like, be serious, like, be so for real, pal 4. You are way more capable than you're acting right now. Like, are you stupid? This feels like a friend saying, are you stupid? But in a way where they don't mean it horribly, they just mean it like, I'm going to need you to see your potential, because you will be amazing at this. Like, you need to see that. You are so much more than what you think. It's not harsh. It's more like a friend hyping you up, but also calling you out a little bit. Like, why are you doubting yourself like this when you could absolutely smash this? Like, you could do it. But for a lot of you, you know, if you do have that inner voice that's saying, you know, don't do it, you'll mess it up, just stay where you are, what if it goes wrong? No, 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 that's fear talking, that is not truth. And yeah, it's giving me that energy of you telling a friend, oh, but I have these doubts, oh, but this could happen, or that could happen, or what if I mess it up? And your friend is like, oh, you stupid, like, oh, why are you being so dumb right now? Like, you would be amazing at this, stop it. Stop doubting yourself. And honestly, that might even be part of the message. A reminder that some of the things you've been telling yourself are not facts. They are fear, they're a habit, they're an old protective mechanism, but they don't get to decide your future. So overall, this really feels like you've been in the space of, hesitation, overthinking, maybe that fear about change. And yeah, it's been hard to move forward. It's been hard to move out of that. Maybe because it feels like there hasn't been much closure, or because the outcome is unclear right now. And maybe because a false sense of safety has been keeping you stuck. Or maybe because you've been in survival mode so long that any change feels threatening even when it's good for you. But here something is shifting, something is clicking, something becomes outright undeniable. And yeah, it might feel intense in the moment, it might feel like things are breaking down, but this isn't going to break you apart. It's breaking you through into something better and more deserving of you. It's breaking you through into clarity, which turns into stability, which turns into opportunity, and into you having a better sense of discernment, and into realizing how abundant you actually are. And also into a version of your life where you're not just surviving, you are expanding outwards, and you're seeing results from that too. And it goes back to your angel number message, because this really does feel like something that you might be worrying about now that actually turns out to be something you're grateful for later on. Like, if this hadn't have happened, I wouldn't be where I am now. Like, that might be something you say in future. You're like, wow, I was so scared of that happening, but now look where it's taken me. Even something that feels painful now, it might be something you feel grateful for in the future. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave you today at Pile 4. That's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. I want to thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I really do appreciate it. If you get a moment, please don't forget to like, comment, hype, share, and subscribe, even if it's just to let me know which pal you chose, or to drop an emoji. It genuinely makes such a big difference to a small channel like mine. And on a personal note, I absolutely love hearing what resonated with you, so feel free to share as much or as little as you're comfortable with. With that said, I'm sending you lots and lots of love. Please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one, Pal 4. Hi Pal 5 Collective! If you chose Pal 5 and you chose the Inspired Neon Tarot and the backpack sticker, you are in the right place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is titled, You Think You're Stuck, but This Is Already Changing. In terms of the reading breakdown, I do go through absolutely everything in my intro, disclaimers included. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from today's reading. But just as a very brief recap, this is all about the help that's on its way to you, my dear. This is about a solution to the problem you're thinking or asking about. This problem can be absolutely everything, whatever's on your mind, big or small. But we are focusing on the situation and how the situation is resolving, and the shift in energy coming in for you guys. So without hesitation, let's have a look at your first card, which is your angel number card. Let's have a look at what we've pulled for you. So with this angel number card, just a quick reminder, you can use this as an energy check. This isn't going to tell us absolutely everything about the situation, but it might give us some clues so you know whether or not you're in the right place. So this will tell us things about the overarching vibe and the energy surrounding your situation, or maybe the area of life this is connected to, and just any extra confirmations that will want to come through. Right off the bat, with you choosing the backpack sticker, I don't know why, but I want to use the phrase, there's a lot to unpack here. Like, there's a lot to unpack here. So maybe somebody says that a lot, or maybe this is just representative of the problem you're facing and how it's going to unfold. But, you know, here we go. Let's go ahead. Let's unpack it. Let's move that to one side for now. And let's have a look at your angel number, which is 543. Trust yourself and the universe to make the necessary changes to achieve your goals. Soon you'll gain clarity about your life's purpose. For some reason, I keep hearing the word countdown. I think it's because it's 543, like descending order. So something about something counting down, maybe a countdown to a certain date. I'm also getting that somebody could have watched a film or a show recently where there was like a countdown to something. I'm also thinking of, is it the song by Beyonce called Countdown? I think it is. I'm thinking of that song, so that could be relevant. But yeah, I'm going to read from the guidebook first of all. So it says, 543 is a transformational number, a sign that the steps you're taking, even if uncertain, are guided. You may not have the full vision yet, but the path is being illuminated with every brave step. The angels urge you to trust yourself. What feels like confusion now is clearing, making space for clarity and renewed purpose. Keep listening inwards. Change is refining your mission, not derailing it. Trust the process and trust the you who is emerging from it. Angel whisper, I walk through change with trust, knowing clarity will follow. And your soul prompt is, what shift am I resisting that might actually bring me greater clarity? Okay, pal 5. This doesn't feel random. This very much feels like you guys are bang in the middle of change, perhaps not fully seeing where it's going yet, but this is your confirmation that you are on the right path, even if it doesn't fully feel clear yet. So with 543, this is all about transformation, but in a way where it's happening step by step. It's not as though everything is revealed all at once. It's more like every small step you take gives you a little bit more clarity, a little bit more confidence, a little bit more direction. And I feel like that's important for you guys because some of you might be in that space of asking, you know, am I doing the right thing, or is this actually going anywhere? And this is very much saying, yes, it is, but you don't have the full picture yet. And I think it ties really nicely with that message of trusting yourself, because I feel like a lot of you do know deep down, you know that you're being pulled in a direction, but there's still hesitation or uncertainty, or maybe even resistance if it means, you know, maybe stepping out of what feels safe or familiar right now. There's definitely confirmation here around the month of March, April or May. So it could be happening right now if you are watching at the time of me uploading, although you don't have to be, but something shifting, happening or becoming clearer around this time, if that applies. And, you know, even energetically, this feels like things are getting lighter. It's like coming out of a heavier period and moving into something that feels, I want to say more open, but also like more alive and just more fun and full of possibility. Even something as simple as more daylight and more sun, and actually the clocks have just changed on the day that I am recording this message, but it's just something that makes you feel more like yourself again. So yeah, clocks changing could be relevant for you guys. More daylight hours. A sad lamp could be relevant for you guys. Something about seasonal shifts in your energy. I know that feels specific, but it's coming through, so I wanted to mention it. For a lot of you, Gemini, Cancer or Leo placements might be relevant, whether that's in your chart or this is just something to do with the vibe of the situation. There's definitely something here about wanting to express yourself, communicate more, maybe socialize more, but also wanting to feel safe, grounded and emotionally secure, whilst also wanting to enjoy life again and feel joyful and confident and creative and passionate and kind of go out there and do your thing. So it's like you've maybe been in a phase where things have felt maybe heavy or confusing, or just a bit like disconnected from the spark or joy. And now it's like something is starting to shift where that spark is coming back. And I keep getting this really strong message that if you have been feeling confused or a bit lost or unsure about a situation or about what you're doing, this is absolutely reassurance that clarity is coming, and not only clarity, but also joy is coming with it. Joy is right alongside it. And it feels like this is a shift where life starts to feel lighter for you again. It starts to feel more playful and exciting. And this could show up in a ton of different ways, to be quite honest, Pal 5. You know, this could be, I'll try to give a few tangible examples. So like getting back into a hobby you used to love, but you haven't had the energy for, suddenly feeling inspired again after a period of feeling kind of flat or demoralized. It could be actually wanting to go out and socialize again, or talk more, have conversations with people, or just put yourself out there more. It could be feeling more confident in your identity, like having a bit of a glow up, maybe buying some new clothes, or just something that makes you feel really good. It could be reconnecting with your inner child and just doing things again just because they're fun. There could also be something about home and family or your personal space. Maybe you're making your environment just feel more you, like you're getting inspired to decorate or to move things around, redecorate, like putting your own stamp on things, or just creating a space that feels more aligned with who you are now. But it doesn't feel like just surface level things. It feels like something that's actually deeper, that's being reignited in you at a soul level. But for some of you, it could come through in these really kind of simple moments that don't feel too deep on the surface. Like, for example, and this is just one completely random example, it doesn't have to apply for you, but it could be like you are colouring with your kids and you realise that you haven't coloured in ages, but actually it really relaxes you, it calms your nervous system. Or even it could be like you're saying, wait, I actually love this, I'm actually really good at it, and it sparks something bigger. Like maybe you used to be an artist and you're like, I want to pursue art again, I want to practice my art again, or I want to study something creative, or I just want to reconnect with that part of me that I kind of lost along the way in the stress of life. Or discovering something you're good at and you're actually passionate about too. Like, for example, you could be caring for someone, you could be supporting someone or giving them advice, and it reminded you of a path you once considered for a career, like nursing or therapy or helping people, counselling people, or doing something more aligned with that nurturing side of you. And now you're going to be asking, like, why did I stop myself from doing that? Like, what if I could explore that now? So there's definitely something here about rediscovering or discovering for the first time a passion, and it gives you that moment of clarity where you're like, I know what to do now, like I know the direction I'm going in. It's that sort of thing, and it doesn't have to be a huge moment straight away. Like I say, it could start off as something relatively small, like colouring with your children or giving someone advice, but it sparks something within you where you're like, I feel really good when I'm doing this. That is the thing. And for some of you, this could also be in terms of relationships. Like if things have felt a bit flat or a bit routine, or like the spark hasn't really been present, this feels like that spark energy coming back in. So fun and playfulness and flirting and laughter, feeling a bit giddy again. It's like having a teenage crush all over again, even if it's someone you've been with for a long time. Or if you're single, it could be meeting someone who brings that side out of you again, someone who makes you feel more open and light again, and like life can be fun. But yeah, the overall energy of this pile is really just things coming back to life. And I think it does link back perfectly to this angel mother message, because yeah, you might not have the full vision, you might have felt unsure, or you might feel like you're still figuring things out as you go, but everything you've been doing, every step you've been taking, even the uncertain steps, they have been guiding you towards this kind of moment of clarity, and towards your own personal sense of purpose, and towards something that actually excites you and gets you kind of pumped up about life again. If life has been boring or stagnant lately, this could apply especially. So if you have been questioning yourself or questioning your path, this is very much confirmation that if you're not on the path already, you are getting there. And that shift that you might have been resisting, the thing that you're kind of unsure about, that could be the exact thing that sort of brings everything into focus and allows you to refine things. Because you could be pulled in lots of different directions at the moment, but there's this one thing that you are deeply passionate about. But this doesn't feel like you're being thrown off your path. It feels like, yeah, your path is being refined, like you're narrowing things down, but in a way that allows that narrow thing to expand and to bloom. It's really confusing, but it's about remembering what lights you up. And once that spark is back, it comes back in full force and it cannot be put out. It's like everything else starts to make sense around it. So yeah, this actually feels really nice. Things are opening up for you again in a big way, Pile 5. So this feels like a really good place to move on to your tarot and your tea leaf cards. We're going to dive deeper into this situation and look at the solution to your problem. So starting over here on the left, we have got the 8 of Swords, and clarifying the 8 of Swords, we have got the 4 of Swords. Okay. Over here, we have the 7 of Swords reversed, and clarifying the 7 of Swords reversed, we have the Lovers. Okay, interesting. All right. And over here, we have the 9 of Swords, and clarifying the 9 of Swords, we have the Star. Oh, that's gorgeous. And from your tea leaf oracle cards, we have a butterfly, a change for the better. I told you so. I love when the cards confirm what we're saying. We have wreath, sorrow over a loss. Yeah, that could have been something you've gone through recently. We have bag. Some of you are getting in your bag. And you picked the backpack, didn't you, for your sticker? Bag, something important, such as a new job or raise. Okay, yeah. And we have barrel. You feel something is lacking in your life. Perhaps love, money, or goals. Well, don't worry, because that's what we're figuring out. We're figuring out what's lacking so we can get to the good stuff, part 5. Yeah, this spread feels a little bit deeper than the initial energy check, I'm not going to lie. But it's in a way that I'm really starting to make sense of this energy. Like the angel number was saying, you are on the right path and things are shifting and clarity is coming. And the tarot is saying, yeah, but let's talk about what's been going on underneath that, because I feel like for a lot of you, the issue here is not that you don't have a path. It's that your mind has been so crowded, so overstimulated and so full of noise that it's been very hard to hear yourself clearly. Like, and when I say yourself, I mean your soul, like your intuition, that source energy. It's been hard to access that. So straight away with that 8 of Swords clarified by the 4 of Swords, this does feel very mental. Air energy could be relevant for you guys. It doesn't have to be. But this feels like a lot of, regardless, it feels like overthinking, mental overwhelm, analysing everything, maybe even a little bit of analysis paralysis or procrastination. And I'm almost getting that example of like a writer's block kind of energy, not necessarily in a literal way. You don't all have to be writers, but it is that kind of energy where you have so many things going on in your head that it's kind of hard to put pen to paper and actually get the thing done. So it's not writer's block exactly. It's like the inspiration is there, but the inspiration has felt scattered, or there's been no real place to put it. And at times that has seemed like a lack of inspiration. It's not that the passion is gone forever, and it's not that you're not talented, and it's not that you've got nothing to say or nothing to give. You've almost got too much to say and give. It's just that you haven't been able to access it properly because your mind is so full and cluttered that there's no room for that spark to come through. It's kind of being snuffed out by some type of mental noise. So I think part of the problem, it's not that joy and passion and purpose and creativity and clarity have disappeared. It's not that they don't exist. It's that they've struggled to coexist with how mentally overwhelmed you might have been. This could be your loud inner critic coming through a bit too much. They need to simmer down. This could be you thinking more than you're doing. This could be feeling trapped, not necessarily because your external situation is literally trapping you, but more because of these thoughts becoming a prison, like loops of, you know, what if, oh, I should be doing more, I'm behind, I don't know what I'm doing, I feel lost, why can't I just get on with it? You know, all of that, it kind of keeps circling. And for some of you, not for everyone, but this really gives me the sense, the example of like functional freeze, like your nervous system is overwhelmed. So instead of moving, you freeze. And then because you are frozen, you then, it's like a vicious cycle, because you then get down on yourself for not being productive and for not doing more and for not moving faster. And that just creates another layer of stress and shame on top of the original overwhelm. So it becomes this horrible cycle where you're overwhelmed, so you don't do the thing, and then you feel bad for not doing the thing, and then that makes you feel even more overwhelmed. And it's like, of course, it's hard to move forward when your system doesn't feel safe enough to do that yet. So I think that's kind of what we're addressing. And I actually think with the 4 of Swords, that is really important here, because, oh, you're going to hate me for this, you're going to hate me for saying this, because some of you feel like it's not possible. But part of the solution is genuinely rest, right? Oh, don't, right, let me explain. Because I don't just mean like flopping down on the sofa and scrolling or lying down when your mind is racing 100 miles an hour. I mean actual rest, mental rest, nervous system rest. Because I'm getting this really, really strongly. Like, some of you think you're resting because you're not being productive, but your mind is still absolutely running the show. You're still thinking about everything you haven't done, everything you should be doing, all the washing up, piling up in the sink, all that project you've been avoiding, whether you're good enough, what's on your to-do list, whether you're behind, whether you're messing things up, what other people are doing, whatever it is. But your body might be still in the physical. You could be led down horizontal, being still, but your mind is moving, your brain is not resting, and so you're not resting. And I know that sounds so obvious, but this is something I actually struggle with. Because, you know, I've spoken on this channel, I've even spoken quite a lot today. I've given this as an example in a couple of the piles today. I've spoke about my own struggles with disability and chronic illness. And a big part of what I deal with is knowing when to pace myself and knowing when to rest. And I used to think that I was brilliant at resting because I love lying down. I'm a Taurus moon. I love to be comfortable. I love to nap when I need to and when I can. But then I realised that if I'm lying down whilst mentally wandering, and that mental wandering entails listing every task I still have to do that I'm putting off, or doubting myself and thinking about everything I've ever done wrong in my life and having fake conversations, and yeah, all of that, everything I haven't done, then that's not restorative at all. That's just me being horizontal and they're not the same thing, because my nervous system is still on high alert. So I feel like some of you could really resonate with parts of that, because you might be feeling like, well, you know, I've done nothing all day, so how can I not be resting? Like, all I've done all day is rest because I've been led down or I've been sat down or whatever. But if your mind is still frantic, you are not getting the benefit of that pause. So part of the solution could absolutely be something like working on sleep hygiene, meditation, but actually finding one that works for you. I struggle with meditation, so yeah, it could be listening to something that actually helps your mind switch off. It could be vagus nerve work or nervous system regulation. It could be brain retraining or mindfulness, or even like simple games or activities that pull you out of those loops. And I know that sounds so obvious, and I get it. It's like, well, yeah, if it were easy not to overthink, then everyone would do it. Like, no one would have anxiety, right? Because we won't be overthinking. I know it isn't that easy. I know it's not that simple. And I know some girl on the internet telling you to meditate isn't going to fix the problem. I'm just saying, like, I think the first part is addressing it rather than being like, well, I am resting. Because maybe part of your mind isn't. And I think that's maybe the part we are looking at, and looking at addressing. So I think part of the solution really is asking yourself, when I say I'm resting, am I actually resting, or am I still mentally running 10,000 tabs all at once, when I'm a supercomputer, when actually I'm a human being and I need to be switched off from time to time. Some of you can't even remember the last time you actually rested and the last time you actually switched off from life a little bit. So for some of you, if you can take some time off, even a little bit, this might be your permission slip. Even if you have to kind of blag it a bit and say that you've got a stomach bug because you don't want to say to your boss, I need time to regulate my nervous system. I'm serious, like, if you can take that time, please do. But I know some of you can't. I know it's a privilege to be able to take time off. But what's important is, if you do take that time, if you can, it's not so that you can fill up your days with 10,000 other things, whether it's errands or obligations or chores and distractions. It has to actually be used to decompress. And if taking time off isn't possible, but you do get days off here and there, I'd really try not to cram every second of those days full of activities. Like, try to give yourself one pocket of time, if you can, where you're not performing, you're not doing and not showing up for everybody else. You're just allowing your system to be settled. Because right now, this kind of feels like too many spinning plates, too much stimulation, too much pressure to be more and to do more and to fix more and to figure out everything at once. And what happens when that starts to clear is where the next part of the reading comes in, because that's where we're moving to the Nine of Swords clarified by the Star. And this is really showing what has been weighing on you emotionally and mentally, but it's showing it lifting. So this feels like those late night spirals, those worst case scenarios, the dread, the overload, the feeling of, you know, something's wrong, something's missing, something isn't clicking, what am I doing? I don't know what it is. And I think that links very perfectly with that barrel tea leaf card too, because, you know, there has been a sense of lack. Like, maybe you have felt something is missing in your life, whether that's purpose or direction or love or money or joy or inspiration, or, you know, just this feeling of like, oh, I'm not quite where I thought I would be by now. It's been sitting on your mind quite heavily. And for some of you, yeah, I think there is some genuine grief here with that Wreath card, sorrow over a loss. This could be a literal loss for some of you, but it could also be grief over a version of yourself, grief over a version of your life, grief over feeling like you have suddenly lost your spark or your passion or your sense of direction, or you've lost something that used to make you feel alive, and that has felt kind of heavy. But what I really want to emphasize here is that this is not the end of the story, because with the Star clarifying the Nine of Swords, I don't just see healing in the sense of like, oh, you're going to feel less anxious. You will do, But I actually see it's not just like, oh, you're going to be less anxious. I also see joy coming back. I see passion being reignited, and you starting to feel like the version of yourself before you felt bogged down with some of this, or maybe even a version of yourself you haven't even met yet, but it's like this future version who is so excited about life, like who feels more inspired and more hopeful and just genuinely excited to be here. It feels like if something has been missing, whether that's, you know, this purpose or confidence or creativity or direction, or just that feeling of being lit up by life, that is coming back in full force. But it comes after this period of rest. It comes after your mind has had chance to quieten down a bit. It comes after your nervous system has had proper rest, or as close to proper rest as your life allows, because I know we all have like situations we have to attend to. Sometimes a day off isn't really a day off because we have so many other obligations, and I do understand that. I'm just saying, where it's possible, try not to cram too much in. I know it's not easy. We're all in different situations, because when you are calmer and when you feel safer and when you're less stuck in survival mode, it's like your natural energy starts to return, and with that, your passion comes back with it. So I really do see you guys becoming more confident and a lot more sure of yourself, and more just like certain that you are on the right track and that there is a purpose here for you, and you're going to know what that is, and it kind of sets everything on fire in the best way. It's almost like your inner world needs that detox first, though, that mental and emotional clearing, so that the inspiration has room to breathe. And once it does, yeah, things really begin to click. The joy comes back, the spark comes back. There's this renewed sense of like, oh, I actually want to do this, and it's really exciting. And that's why it doesn't feel like an ending to me at all. It feels like just the point in the story where things start turning around. What I love so much about that Nine of Swords clarified by the Star is that the Star is saying here, this is not where things stay. Things do not stay this way forever. You know, this is your healing moment and the hope coming back in. It's being able to kind of unclench and, you know, the light returning and things just getting, you've seen some light at the end of this tunnel, like things getting better, even if you can't fully explain how that's happening yet. Because, yeah, there has been some anxiety, and there's been, yeah, a lot of overthinking and maybe some dark nights of the soul, that sort of thing. Some really difficult mental loops that you might have been trapped in. But the Star is saying that this is not the end point. It's saying naturally, as your system calms down and as your mind gets more quiet, as you stop being so hard on yourself and you learn to kind of intercept those thoughts. That's weird. I'm almost like slowing myself down as I'm speaking, because I like speak fast sometimes. But yeah, I just wanted to slow down then. I was like even slowing myself down, and maybe, yeah, that's something you need to do, is slow yourself down. You go 1,000 miles an hour. But yeah, things are going to be coming back online. Your sense of purpose and these ideas and this inspiration and your ability to hope again. And yeah, with the Seven of Swords reversed clarified by the Lovers, there is definitely something about the truth coming out, like more honesty and no more hiding from yourself and no more sneaking around when it comes to the thing that actually matters. It's like you're not going to be telling yourself stories that you feel like keep you safe, because you've realized that they also have been keeping you stuck. So yeah, for some of you, this is definitely about being more honest with yourself when it comes to actually what you want from life. You know, maybe where you've been telling yourself, I can't do that, when maybe the truth is that you're scared to do it, but it doesn't mean you can't. Those moments where you've been saying like, oh, I don't have time, that's not possible for me, or I have too many obligations, or I'm too scattered. But actually maybe part of that is because you've been avoiding the thing that would light you up and filling your days with things that you've been worried or stressed about, that some of it you might not need to. Obviously, I can't claim to know everyone's individual situation, but yeah, the tangible ways this could pop up into your reality could be you getting the urge to go back to school and study something, but maybe a part of you is talking yourself out of it, or saying it's too late or you're too old or something, which isn't true. It could be you wanting to pursue something creative but procrastinating and filling your days with other things, other distractions that distract you from what you really want to get done. This could be you trying to strategize or organize your life too hard instead of following the call of your soul and what your soul is pulling you towards. This could be pretending something is fine when it isn't. Or it could be carrying something alone instead of bringing a truth out into the open, But there is definitely this sense of a solution being that you are not sneaking around the truth anymore. There's no more, I'm hearing, slinking around it. And also no more convincing yourself you don't care or you're apathetic when actually you care very deeply. This is you getting real with yourself and asking like, okay, what do I actually want? And once that truth has been acknowledged, once you air it, once it's not hidden anymore, it becomes a lot clearer and easier to make a solid, tangible decision. But with the Lovers, this is not just any decision. This feels like an aligned decision, a very meaningful decision, one that really resonates with your heart and your values and the future that you're trying to create. Something that just feels right in your body. It excites you and it's something that calls to you on this deep level. I'm getting for some of you, this is something that has been screaming your name. Whatever it is, whether it's a person, it could be another person, a path, a project, a course, a job, a creative pursuit, or maybe something to do with being seen or being visible, or maybe something to do with children, having children, family, starting a family, nurturing, teaching, caring for others. Whatever it is, it's like you've been called to it, it's screaming your name and it just makes sense for you. It lights you up inside. And it's like once you connect or reconnect with it, it's like, oh, this is why I felt so flat. This is what I've been missing. This is the thing I've been missing. And now I know what I'm doing. And I know this is meant for me. And yeah, for some of you where this applies, this could absolutely be a relationship. If you have been overthinking a connection or feeling like something is off or worrying about a spark being gone or worrying somebody is not into you or that things are failing, this could be a truth coming out into the open. And maybe that truth is that somebody has been going through something that they haven't expressed, but it could be a misunderstanding rather than, a spark being gone. Maybe somebody has been hiding how hard things have been for them, and maybe you assumed, just as one example, that it was about you, and when the truth comes out, it's like things realign. There's a lot more honesty and more attraction and more being on the same page, and with that there's more hope returning. Or for some of you, it could be sleepless nights over a crush, a mutual attraction, a situation where you thought somebody wasn't into you but actually they are, and that brings excitement and inspiration and life back into you. It might give you faith in people or in romance or in relationships again, in possibility, in the good things that life has in store for you. But yeah, I'm loving the tea leaf cards here. The butterfly, symbolizes transformation. So yeah, a genuine glow up could be taking place. Maybe some of you are still in the cocoon phase right now. Maybe you're still in that arena where things feel transitional, but you are blooming. The sun is coming out, and this feels like one of those beautiful shifts where things start changing in ways you'll eventually look back on and you'll realize these were some of the most important changes of your life. It might not fully feel real yet, but things are changing and things are rearranging underneath the surface. And yeah, this spark, you could be finding that it just naturally starts coming back online. And some tangible examples of this could be, like we said, when we gave that colouring example, you randomly feeling drawn to things you haven't thought about in a while, you picking up certain hobbies again, or maybe for the first time, and realising as you engage with those things, you're like, oh wait, I love this, like I need to do more of this, incorporating more of that into your life. It could be getting excited about ideas that spring up out of the blue or come to you in dreams. Maybe it's wanting to pursue education or do a course or start a project or just be driven down a certain path out of nowhere, but it's something that's deeply aligned. Could just feel like getting more random ideas, more inspired bursts of creativity, wanting to express yourself more or share more, be seen more, having moments where you just feel more yourself again and more confident without forcing anything. So starting to feel lighter and just more alive again. But you don't have to rush it. It feels like something that unfolds gradually. But the wreath is acknowledging, like, yes, there might have been sorrow. Something could have felt lost in this, but that is not where the story ends. It's almost like you thought the spark was gone forever, or the purpose was gone and that it wouldn't come back, or the opportunity was gone, it's passed you by. But no, it's coming back tenfold, or something better is taking its place. Yeah, that barrel, that feeling of something that has been lacking, that purpose, the direction, the passion, the joy, that sense of what am I meant to do, something is missing, that is what's being restored here as part of this solution. This blockage is lifting. And then that bag is where things get really exciting, because this says to me that whatever this aligned path is, whatever this passion or this choice or this new beginning is, it doesn't just feel good in an emotional sense, it actually has the potential to bring tangible rewards and material success. So that could include, you know, a new job, a raise, getting literally in your bag, pile 5. It feels like something you can actually lock in with. It feels like something you can build on and commit to, and it can take you to these really high places. There's so much potential here to be excited about. So overall, pile 5, yes, maybe you have been stuck or you've dealt with some things, or you've been in survival mode or a little bit frozen. Maybe something has been missing, or you're grieving something and you feel like it won't come back, or that it's passed you by, but this is not where you're going to stay. It's not where you're staying, because a part of the solution is real, genuine rest and giving your mind and your body enough space to come out of that sense of overload. And when that happens, things start shifting and the clarity starts returning. It feels like you're going from being kind of mentally crowded to feeling more clear and aligned and inspired. And your joy and your purpose and passion is going to come back, and life feels like it's opening up to you again. And there's so much joy still left to meet you in your future. So yeah, this actually feels really hopeful to me, like you're about to come back to yourself in a really huge way, pile 5. Okay, pile 5, that is what I'm getting for your reading today, and that's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. I just want to thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I really do appreciate it. If you get a moment, please don't forget to like, comment, hype, share, and subscribe, even if it's just to let me know which pal you chose or to drop an emoji. It genuinely makes such a big difference to a small channel like mine. And on a personal note, I absolutely love hearing what resonated for you guys, so feel free to share as much or as little as you are comfortable with. With that said, I'm sending you lots of love, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one, pal 5.